Calling this meeting to order. Please rise to the table, please vaccine. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, this meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of July 21, 2025 is included in the list of meetings. Notices the Player News on January 6, 2025, posted on the bulletin board of Borough Hall on a date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Roll call, please.
Oh, both of them. Sorry. Councilman Arias.
Here.
Councilwoman Engelhardt. Here. Councilwoman Fasara. Here. Councilman Levitt.
Here.
Council Vice President Vaughn.
Here.
Council President Parker.
Here.
And Mayor Karen.
Here. All right, first on the agenda is a presentation by Robin regarding the FCP signs, refining top, these kinds of things. Around the borough. So Robin, it's your.
Okay, great. Ally, I might ask you to help me get in as a presenter so
Okay.
that we can show things on the screen.
Okay.
Okay,
Are you in the meeting?
not yet, but I'm gonna ask Ally to come get me in the meeting and then we can get in as a presenter. Okay, thanks. All right, so the long awaited wayfinding signs are here before you. This is a very, thank you, this is a very large packet and it's very difficult to send to people. I will send it to all of you after this meeting using the transfer. So you'll have to download it in order to be able to look at it, unless you're really savvy with Google Drive. This package represents a total of, I think our last sign is sign number 29. And you'll see there's a couple of signs that we took out. So what we wanted to do overall is demarcate 3 separate business areas. There's certainly contiguity and certainly areas of overlap, but there are, they each have their own different look and feel and businesses that kind of hang together. So we've created 3 business areas and you can see them when you turn to the first page on the map. 1 is the Stangel Arts and Cultural District, 2 is the Circle Shopping District, and 3 is the Historic Main Street District. And you know, where they come close to each other, let's say, is like on Church Street. You know, Church Street by the Wawa is very highway. You know, it's a lot of cars going very quickly in a big traffic light. When you come down Church Street and you get to Broad Street, it kind of transitions to being more like Main Street. So, you know, we can certainly talk about why we drew boundary lines where. But we wanted the signs to give more of an identity because I have seen maps of Flemington where you hand it to somebody and it's big, even though it's 1.4 square miles. It doesn't say you can walk easily from the florist on East Main Street to the shops at Flemington. On a map, it looks like you could get there in 5 minutes. In reality, we're not sending visitors from one point to the other. So breaking things down gives us more of a chance to have better navigation, better expectations, and to have our businesses have kind of a focal point of where they are. Okay, so, does it say, it says TP, yeah, that's the right one. TP as in Tony Parker. I sent it to you. Okay, so the first page says that we were going to do a color test because as you can see on this document, it looks a little bit darker than it does of what's in front of you. And, you know, and it looks a little darker, just a little here than what's in front of you. But what's in front of you is a blue. It's not the Caldwell Banker blue that you will see. You can find examples of everywhere. It's a nice indigo blue. It's dark. It has good contrast. We talked to people about visibility and ADA sign requirements. And thank you so much. And this is where we landed. The difference between the two signs in front of you, literally in front of you, is the color of the arrow. I also want to point out that.
Would you mind, could you just like?
Put them over there. I think that sounds good.
Or somewhere, just, I mean, the public has now had a chance to see
Yeah.
them.
The public is looking at what you're looking
We
at.
can't.
What you're saying.
You were asking for.
So you are asking me to Vanna White, no?
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay.
How would you?
You're asking for an opinion.
Okay.
Where?
Can you go speak to you?
Or behind
This is where I work out.
Carla? How about behind Carla?
Behind Carla would be okay.
Thank you.
Uh,
Okay. So just FYI, we've spent a lot of time with a lot of people discussing what's on these signs, including I spent, I don't know, 2.5 hours in the back of a police car driven by the chief with Brian McNally, and we actually physically looked at every sign and decided, you know, does this sign, is this a tripping hazard? You know, is it in a good place, and really is what we're putting on it what it should say?
This is the actual sign.
These are, believe it or not, we have two sizes for this project. We have large
Is it large?
and extra large. This is large. Extra large is bigger than these. And the extra larges are more found along the highway because they're just there's more space around them and more distance to view them. But basically, this is a Stangl sign. The one you're looking at on the screen, which like the color, the difference in color between that one and that one is pretty substantial. This is just a foam, this is vinyl on foam core. That is what the surface looks like, feels like. We've had a couple in the real world for almost 2.5 years. They do not fade. They're UVA rated for like 10 years. But as an application, they can be redone within almost like a week's notice.
Is that are these colors true?
Yes, this is the
This
true
is
color.
color.
Yeah. This color looks like, you know, if we went outside, it will look different because of the fluorescent lights. In the sunlight, it looks like more like this, like a deeper, darker blue. It is not the same blue as the historic signs because we didn't want to be the exact same sign. And I actually have a picture of myself holding this up next to the sign in the in the church. Yes, there's one sign in the Presbyterian church that kind of pokes out that's very blue. The blue is really the DOT preferred color for visibility. And really the question is, do we do a blue arrow for, some people find the blue more contrasting. Some people find the white more contrasting, but before we're done, we need to decide which arrow color you like. And just to point out, we have, as you go through this, you'll see there's 3 crests is what we're calling the round part. That is prepared separately from the body of the sign. So who has the 3 crests? All right, so you get to Vanna White them now. Okay, so one crest is historic Main Street, one crest is the Circle Shopping District, and one crest is Stangl. And they all represent a different area, and as we do more directories, we'll see these symbols pop up in other locations, and it's, you know, the beginning of our having more narrative about the different shopping areas that we have. Okay, so moving along, here we go. This is, here we go. Okay, so this is a historic Main Street sign with both the blue and the white. This is back to what we were looking at before. All up, now we're in the Stangl Arts and Cultural District. That's what the sign looks like. With all of them, we gave you these, each sign is numbered. It tells you where it is. So this is on Stangl Road, near the greenhouse, facing Liberty Village. So you know which direction this sign is being perceived from. This, at the bottom, it tells you what size it is, and we only have one double-sided sign in the entire set. Which is unfortunate because some of them would be better, you know, with a front and a back. But that's the way they were delivered, and we put them where we thought that would be most efficacious. So while you're now stuck at the stop sign, hopefully stopped, and you're looking to the left, the back of the stop sign will say, "Welcome to the Stangl Arts and Cultural District." So we've created a few welcome signs for each district that let you know where you are. And they all say Historic Flemington on the bottom, because we want the viewer to understand that all these signs are part of Historic Flemington, and you will know as you drive around that you're in Historic Flemington. You know, there are signs in our package. This one, as you can see, is right in front of, it's on a little strip of grass in front of Arami's. There are two signs within 20 feet of this sign. It just doesn't really have a purpose. And again, I think you'll note that this sign says Liberty Village Outlets Parking and Historic Downtown. We're separating parking from this sign, so we're gonna add a circle at the bottom of the sign that has a P and allows us to have arrows wherever parking is. It could be 4 arrows if there's parking in 4 different directions, or just 1 arrow. And we can have them on every sign, which is actually smarter than having them, just having one sign with 1 arrow and you're not really near where the parking is. This is right in front of Burkett's. This basically is pointing to the 2 different shopping districts that are closest. Stangl is this way, Historic Main Street is this way. We figured that a lot of people in the next couple of years will be coming to find the Union Hotel in Courthouse Square, and that's a valuable marker. Plus, it's a hotel, so the people generally going to a hotel or to a large complex are looking for it. And we also wanted to be inclusive of the people who the chief told us come to look for the county admin building, which is a lot of people. And on some signs, we have both the county admin building and the Justice Resource Center. Is that it? Justice, I think so.
We wanna say county admin building or county admin complex, cause aren't they, chief, aren't they really looking for the whole records? Where
Yeah,
the clerk is?
most
The
people are looking for
passports?
passports, yeah.
We will, and again, you can see, we've worked really hard to try to have economy of language. It's, and you know, parse everything. It's hard to do it. We did a good job. We could add a little more space. We have spoken to the county about letting them look at the signs to opine on what works best for them. We're also asking them, and they've also volunteered to help us with the signage, either in terms of print costs or hanging the signs. And we've determined these things, I don't know, they weigh like 100 pounds. They're so heavy. And DPW has expressed concern that it was fairly tolerable to get them down, but actually having the guys without a cherry picker or a bucket truck lift these things up and fasten them is really problematic. So, and just even trucking them is hard. And just so you know, the vinyl surface is on the front, the back has to be painted to match. Because it has a channel that is how it's affixed. It's really hard to vinyl around the channel, so we're just painting the back.
Does the county have a cherry picker they lend us?
They do have the equipment that would be helpful.
They actually said they were
They
gonna help
did.
us, right?
Yes, they did offer to
Yeah.
help. Okay, so going through here again, this sign says Fulper Road. It is the only sign that says Fulper Road, but it's right before Fulper Road. So we tried to be really mindful of orienting people to our major commercial shopping and dining areas, as well as important, terms, or we have one sign that points you to the police station that's right by the police station. Again, this is kind of in the this is in a more residential neighborhood, but people still come up Park Avenue to get to Stangl. So having a sign there feels like it makes sense. That's all the number of signs that are in the Stangl Arts and Cultural District. This is the Circle Shopping District. Again, here, this is right by the golf course. And it had an awful lot of information in the past, much of which is no longer valuable. So we just wanted to put a welcome to historic Flemington sign right there, because that is where you enter the borough. This sign by Rayville is kind of hazardous, I would say, and it's very close to the other signs. This sign is in a really busy area on the Circle Shopping District. So, and again, people are listening to their GPS, they're not looking for a sign to tell them where to go. So again, we just went with a welcome sign there. This sign is by the Goodyear Tire, which is also a busy area. And you can see there's another sign right behind it that says entering the borough, spelled BORO, of Flemington. But we still want people to understand that they're in the shops, that they're in the Circle Shopping District, they can get to the shops of Flemington, they can also get to historic Main Street, and they can get to Stangl Arts and Cultural District. And having not grown up here and, moving here, I have to say, it was very hard to understand that when I was by the Goodyear, I was actually within the Borough boundary. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people.
I would absolutely agree with you on that.
And
But let me ask you a
this sign
question.
is an extra large.
The one behind that, the Hinton Borough of Flemington,
That
it
is.
seems like that's blocking. But
That's-
This one sign is blocking the other, is it gonna be raised higher?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, that's also sort of like the perspective of how I took the picture. They kind of, there is a lot, there's way too much signage. It all overlaps. I think that green sign is county or
No,
state.
it's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, is this
Yeah.
one going up
Yeah.
further, so that, yeah.
yeah, we can make those changes. Again, and also while we're here, we might as well note that these signs were scratched by, I'm not sure what. But they're all in that kind of disrepair in order, and also, that has gotten very dark and mysterious looking. We're not taking the substrate, which is reflective, so it has many layers of it's really toxic. We've ripped it off and has smelled for over a year like some kind of really bad chemicals. We're not doing a reflective surface because we're not required to do it, and at night, these are in well-lit areas, you don't really need the reflection mostly just shows the scratches. So we will take Bondo, our painter will use some Bondo, sand them all down and make the surface clean so we can affix the vinyl. Moving through here again, this is by the Burger King, you know, but when you're by the Burger King, you're not really straight on looking at that sign, and you shouldn't really be looking at it anyway, because it's a busy road right there, you're about to hit the bumps, and all we need to say is you are now in the borough of Flemington. Again, Tony, here's that same thing where there's like too big of a sign right next to it. So in this instance, I think there's 6 signs that we're removing, and we will either reuse that post for something like, there are other smaller signs that might be valuable to put there that for traffic purposes. Or the post will be removed, but it is like, it's about at least $1,000 to remove a post, so we're hoping not to have to reuse or remove too many. This is one place where you're right by the Provident Bank. You know, with the mall, and the new Target on your left, right before the Wawa. It's kind of like right on the edge of the borough, of the boundary of the borough. But the Circle Shopping District is in front of you and to the left. So we indicated that there. This is one of the very few signs that has a double arrow pointing to 2 directions. And here we go. This is another welcome to the Circle Shopping District. And now this is actually by the Chamois Shine, and this is one sign where we say at the top with welcome to historic Flemington, because you're kind of outside of Flemington Borough, but somehow we've always had a sign there. So this is true wayfinding, because you're not in the borough, you're by the Chamois Shine. And we pointed to the things that the person making the right onto Walter Ferran might wanna be prepared to arrive to. This is the historic Main Street with the updated courthouse, and there's more signs.
So I have a question. So it says Union Hotel in Courthouse Square, but the hotel is not gonna be called the Union Hotel, is it?
They said that, I asked
They're gonna
them what
keep
they
it?
wanted us
Okay, so
to
it's not
call
gonna
it.
say Marriott, it's just gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay, just want.
It is a Marriott tribute
Right,
parade,
I understand,
Yeah.
but I just wanna make sure that there's not gonna be conflicting.
and we checked this with them
Okay,
as well.
okay, good.
Yep, so. And again, you know, if we need to change what the county admin building is called, we can. And again, this is more in the neighborhood. So just going through these, this sign says historic courthouse because it's right in front of the Graham building. So we're thinking at that point, telling somebody that you're close to the historic courthouse has value.
What is this sign actually getting red?
No,
Okay,
no, we just did that to,
wake everybody up, see you paying attention.
it's very bright. No, this sign looks exactly like it does on the screen,
Okay.
except it's actually that color. And this sign is an extra large, and this is one instance where we were able to go with a larger sign, which allowed us to say more.
The colors, just real fast, the reason the colors are like that is there's a map that you put together that has every sign numbered and the direction it's facing. So, and they're color coded, red for Main Street and the colors that are associated with those.
This is true, and you'll see that in a moment. So again, I don't know if you know this sign upsets me a lot. It's kind of by Ye Olde, and it is really in a bad place. And so, I mean, if you look at the sidewalk, it's so narrow there. So this one we will remove. This could be one of those places where we do something like Lambertville does. And up high, they actually point to different stores or different intersections. But this sign, I think the best thing is to just remove that. Here is where it's right by the new T-Berries, and again, you know, it's right before Church Street, so we wanna tell people, go down Church Street to get to Stangle. Go to the left to get to the Circle Shopping District, and straight ahead is our very new Flemington Police Station. Moving along, I think you guys get the point, these are all in the historic Main Street area. This one is a welcome sign, this is on the 12 Circle. Kind of close to, directly across from Gabby's Pizza, but right before you get onto Main Street. And this is the map that Ally was mentioning, which shows exactly where each numbered sign is. It also shows the district, so as you can see, those Stangle signs with the crest that looks like Stangle are very much centered over here. You know, Main Street is the main thoroughfare through town, which the signs make very clear that you're in that area and that it's linear, and it goes all the way to the end. There's one by Steve's and there's one across the street when you come in on Walter Moran. There is one, there's one sign way up at the top, that's the one by the Chamois Shine. The green one at the very top. And that is highway, you know, that is in the highway. So everything in green on the right is what we're considering the Circle Shopping District. And, you know, we asked the people who have businesses in the Circle Shopping District how they felt about that name, and they all thought it sounded attractive to them.
Here's the question, can you go back to any sign?
Sure. You want a welcome sign or
It
a?
doesn't matter,
Okay.
I wanted clarification, because you said you were gonna put a parking. You would put a circle at the bottom,
So these signs are, I think they're more than 13 feet up in the air. So right underneath it, like right underneath it would be a P, a complementary colorful P. Sometimes I saw them in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, they have the exact same sign.
you would have put it like where the historic Flemington is, you would put it in a little bubble going down. The way the top icon is in the bubble going up,
It would be larger than that.
okay.
You know, it's not as big as a stop sign, but they're about, you know, probably like 1.5 feet in
Okay.
diameter. And it's circular so that there's a P in a color that's very visible it's not the green parking P, although we could if everybody insists, but I think we could come up with something really attractive. But there's a circle that has a P in it that has high contrast, and around it is a circle, and then there's 4 potential arrow directions. So if parking is straight ahead, we can do one up at the top, but if there's also parking to the right, like when you get down to 8 Main Street, you know. We may wanna say there's parking to the left if you go down Kapner, but you can go to the right and there's parking behind 8 Main as well. So it just, when I saw that system, I thought it just gave them so much flexibility and also gives you breadcrumb ability to actually lead people to parking. Because we could do, we had plans to use 13 signs for parking, but they're not exactly really near the parking. You know what I mean? They're where the post went in the ground or where there's space to put a sign, but they're not as helpful as I think this system. And I can certainly come back and show you pictures of what the Ardmore circular parking sign looks like. Yes,
I think I have a rather inconsequential question, but it's a question nonetheless. The arrows you mentioned, the white and the light blue, like you have to make a choice, is that what?
I hate to make you make a choice.
Oh, well, what's the, like, cause I know. I was there with you on a past
Yeah.
iteration was, so like the DOT has like their specific colors, is this?
This is really, you know, it's really a preference, I think. I think we could get, I think it's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. I think we could line people up and half of them are gonna say the white is, they like the
Mhm.
white, and half of them are gonna say the blue.
But it also comes down to, it's light outside, so blue looks nice, but at night. Is the blue gonna eliminate or is the white gonna pop? And that's where you really have to take in consideration. It's not what's happening
I
today,
agree.
it's what's happening
So
at night.
I also
my,
think that, you know, going through town at 25 miles an hour, the blue is fine. But on the highway where people are doing a faster speed, the white might be better on their eyes.
so
just need to
I
pop. It needs to
believe
pop.
in demonstration projects.
I mean, I
So-
really personally really like the blue, but I think that
know.
the white is so much more easy on eyes.
So here's what I think we should do, and we've done this before, but we should, I think we should actually just have 2 signs done properly, which is the vinyl affixed to a sign, and we put them somewhere where we can all go look at them and we can take opinions about which
Sure.
one.
But I still think it's a matter of daylight and dusk.
Great,
That's really what you have to look at.
So
what
everybody
looks
has
like
to
nice,
look-
this is beautiful during the day.
look daylight and
dusk.
dusk.
And someone's wearing glasses or someone, it can be completely different, it can be completely different, and so, especially someone who doesn't know the town and they come in, I mean, it's beautiful, I'm not taking that away. I'm just thinking about the practicality and the safety of it all.
No, I don't know if putting it back on the actual vinyl is gonna make too much of a difference in how it
Okay.
appears at night. I think if there's somewhere we could just put these outside at
Sure.
night, and I can go take a look, I guess, you know.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do. Just affix them to a post. And give everybody an opportunity to, you know, under a street lamp and let people take a look at them.
Yep.
But basically, we, you know, if you wanna know what the steps are. These signs, like I said, weigh like 100 pounds, so I can't move them, they're also sharp. They're scissor sharp, they're scary, and you know, you can't have one fall on your foot, it would be really bad. So we need to have our painter put them all on some kind of horses to be painted. And we need some space to do that, it's a couple of coats of paint on the back to be really weather treated. And then they go from being painted to the vinyl shop. The vinyl shop really can't take more than 5 at a time, if even that. Because they also need a lot of space to affix the vinyl, then it needs to treat for a couple days. So this is really like a huge production line production,
So there's 28 signs, so
yes,
that's 5 batches, 6 batches of
Yeah.
signs.
yes.
And how many do, like, so we're talking like a month just to do these signs or longer.
I don't think, I think if the county agrees to help us, it could be. It'll be easier to rehang them, because that's part of the concern is, you know, how hard it is it to get them
You know, on the
reinstalled?
higher side is a month, on the lower side, it could be 3 weeks, is
Yes,
that a
I
correct
agree,
statement?
yes,
Robin,
yeah,
one that, if you could go back to sign 10
I can.
for me. It's the one in front of Goodyear. I've been staring at this one on the maps for a while, right, on street
Yeah.
view. And, I mean, you'll see that it looks like we've decided to flip the way the arrows are going, it's a very tricky spot to put it in. You know, depending on how, if we wanna direct people, the most direct way to get there by driving, or if where the thing actually is. I don't know, it's a very confusing sign.
Yes, I agree.
It's a very difficult place to
Because
put one
of
of
this
these
arrow
signs.
going here and then these arrows going through.
It'll be right here.
Here. It's a lot of direction on one side.
It's also,
Like that,
believe it or not, there's another sign right after it, that's this is the jug handle sign.
One on the jug handle makes a lot of sense,
Yeah,
that one's
doesn't
fine,
make- yeah,
Okay.
yes.
what I'm
What's your
expecting to see,
recommendation?
I don't know,
Is
I
that
feel
the
like
line, though?
not a lot of people are gonna read it while they're driving there, but in theory,
I think
I
the
expect an
police might have
increase in
told
left
me to
turns
get
if
rid
one-
of this one.
Illegal left,
Is this on the
Yes.
line of?
illegal left turn.
Yeah.
It's on the line.
Is there gonna?
No,
miss
it
the
would
jug
be
end.
an illegal. I mean, like, if you're just saying. FYI, people, eventually, when you can legally make a left. Historic Main Street would be to your left, or are we? As in the other signs really being
I mean, I,
true
Or
to
do you
the
send
where
them, do
you
you
can
send
make a
them
left?
down to the next sign, which is the traffic light where they can make a left at Walgreens?
Yeah,
Because there, Councilman is totally right, people are gonna panic and they're gonna make an illegal left turn at a very dangerous intersection, because they're gonna miss the jug end.
I've had
I
people
think
do it.
you're right. So your suggestion is to say go straight?
Goes
But
there,
no, I
would say-
wouldn't even, I don't know if I would
Maybe
even
just
have
take it
that
off.
sign
Just put it
at
on.
all, or like have it say welcome to Farmington, or give it its own sign. Own special design where like, I don't know, make it clear you gotta direct people into the jug
We can
handle.
make this a
so it's-
welcome sign too,
That's what
I
I
mean, you know.
Yeah, I don't-
Is
that's
that the
what-
first
Collision
line
work.
on 202?
It is,
Okay.
actually, right? Isn't that the, I think that's alright, we have to go back to the map. I think it is the first sign. You have, everybody has a map, it's. First sign on 202. I do really like that it tells you that the shops of Flemington
First one, so-
are right there,
Yeah, it's number 10 is the first one.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's for it though.
okay,
Sorry, I'm showing her
that's
off
okay.
the street view.
I mean, I could, oh. And you should, I might have flipped through quickly to the one that's adjacent to your house that
Yes,
could
I
have
will,
been in
I
our
will
project.
inform, Mr. Fusaro that he has no right to do our work there.
And, so listen, you know. We're working with something that, with a fixed system of posts. That were put in that place, you know, we might, had we had, all creative. Opportunities, we may have put signs in different places, but just to have them. Be helpful where they're currently located is why I think we should, move forward. The cost to do each sign is somewhere, and it's gone up a lot because of life.
Yeah,
You know, it's about $300 a sign. Which is. Considering that the whole project installation was, I've heard like $350,000. We own a lot of heavy metal. And I mean, we own heavy metal, so for us not to use it to, you know. It's an investment, but if in fact we find that we need to change them. They can easily be changed. That it's just that, it's again, the heavy lifting, that's the hard part.
Well, let me just say this, I think this is a lot of work that's gone into this, and I've been with you guys on the blood, sweat, and tears on this, and you have no idea how many times they've gone back to reiteration. They've had companies help them, they've had marketing people help them, they've gone to business owners, they've gone to a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of work, I didn't realize how much work this really is, but it's a lot of work, and so. Hats off to you guys for putting this together and getting us to this point where we're ready to execute. I think that's good. I mean, the little details and things like that, we can work that out. Like, for instance, I do agree with you on that sign, and maybe it should just be low, or just take shops of Flemington off and put that someplace else. So those are minute things, right? But I think at the end of the day, we're ready to execute. I think this is beautiful, I think it looks good, I think the blue is great, I've been to other towns where there's blue. And it just always pops, it always brings you in, and it also has some type of. It just levels up, you know, 'cause I can't think of.
Gravitas.
Say, it levels up as opposed to, you know, a red or burgundy or whatever, because that's just all played out. And it's getting us into the next decade. So I actually think this, I mean, I hope you guys agree, but I think this is a really, really good. Quote unquote Boy Scout effort, to get this to this point and to execute. I really do. I think good for you guys, this is great.
So this book will go to the county for their eyeballs, we'll send it back to the hotel one more time, just to make sure that we're calling. Everything that's mentioned should be checked by the person. I would really appreciate it, Trent, if you wanna use your Eagle Map Eye to give it, we could use one more like
Yeah,
thorough.
I agree.
If somebody wants to
Yeah.
drive around in my car, I made Ally so
I
nauseous,
would
she
say
could barely
even-
stand it.
Even if Jeremy. Sure, I'm volunteering Jeremy. Just because.
It's a great summer project,
If
Jeremy.
you guys could just kind of go around and look at it, just because I've seen it so much, and so you kind of lose. Perspective, but if you guys could do it, that'd be great, just to say that it's, what about this saying, what about this arrow, whatever, just, again, it's minute details at this point.
So I think for the parking signs that we talked about in the past, I think we had a quick resolution to say that the design has been looked at and studied and
So you need us to do a resolution, is that
I
what you're saying?
I think so.
Is that what has to happen? You can do a resolution, sure. Resolution. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Any other questions?
Are we open to the idea of 45-degree angles for some of the arrows?
Can-
No,
No.
no, can't do it?
Nope.
Alright, won't do it, never mind.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, I feel like there's
Because
some,
it feels more accurate, but
some of them, a handful, a very select
I
few.
hear you.
I think we should go with the 4-corner arrow system to just.
Yes, that's standard in wayfinding. Sign, but I do.
Thank you, Robin.
appreciate that.
Thank you, guys, thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and thanks to the police and to DPW because they've really been tremendously helpful partners. I mean, we did really drive around for hours looking at each sign, right?
We did.
Already have, it's
Pedro.
as our compares to the full. What, do you know Councilman Engel?
Yes, nice.
Good. It's the- All right, good. Thank you. Before I continue, is the guy always falls on this getting out?
It's freezing.
Okay. So
No,
is there,
it is.
make it
It's
so
really
flowers,
cold.
is there a way to
Yes.
put flowers and stuff?
I just
Give
said
it that
I just
man.
said- He's right there.
Oh, I'm always cold, so I just thought I'd.
Turn it up. It's never cold.
Stuff
It is really cold.
It's really, it's the flowers, the right on.
Probably.
So,
You want these signs up?
Sure, we'll take them. We're gonna
um.
go,
But it's
go
not-
have outside somewhere.
It's just like it's like. right?
Okay, moving on, Mayor's Court. First of all, I want to publicly announce that it is confirmed that the borough was awarded $300,000 in the final state budget signed into law the evening of June 30th, select first by the governor. I had asked for 675,000, we got 300,000. That is certainly enough to put out for proposal to do the drawing, design, and the bid specs and estimate for the construction phase of the Sally Port, which is what was required, it was requested for with some money left over towards that construction project. So Bill has not gotten notice yet, but as soon as he gets official notice from the state, I would like to be able to move forward immediately. It might be between council meetings. Because we are on a deadline with the Department of Corrections on that Sally Port, they want to see movement. And I hate sitting on a gift like this. Because otherwise it's gonna be harder to justify another one next year. Our YMCA also received 250,000 towards the pool. That was with resolutions for both Hunterdon County and the borough supporting it. So Wilmington did well in the state budget. I want to thank Senator Zwicker specifically for putting this in for us. And personally thank the governor as well for all his help. And that's what survived before he signed it. He didn't cut it down at all. So it's very appreciated. I also want to acknowledge Mark Kane in the audience. Mark is a member of the planning board, but he also is our volunteer who does the fireworks every year for us and has for years. There's a resolution honoring Mark later in the meeting, which I'm gonna ask Councilman Rias to read when we get there. But what's not in the resolution is that Mark personally, single-handedly raised $23,500 for these fireworks. Without which we would not have fireworks because we don't have. So it's just so appreciated, and he also does all the coordination, he talks to the FAA, he covers roofs, he talks to our professionals, he coordinates the whole thing. And I hope you can stay to hear the resolution. Next, want to let you all know. I had a conversation with our OEM coordinator about the OEM vehicles, not his vehicle, but the other vehicles that are for the OEM members of the CERT team. They have a couple vehicles out in the parking lot that sit out there unless there's a flood, which seems to always be at night, or an event, which are generally on weekends, about sharing those cars with our construction official. Right now, we are paying him mileage, and we have these cars that are sitting there, and he's only here from 6:30 to 9:30 in the morning, so our OEM coordinator was very agreeable to that. So, but the next time the police have a car that is ready to be retired, I think we should have one here for the admin building for our officers, for Carla, who has to go to an occasional meeting. Or the printing. Right, Route 12. Right, or whatever, so it would be nice to have a car for our professionals especially to use. I also have confirmation from the IBEC with the state of New Jersey. They have confirmed Remington Vernick has been approved to design all the major projects for the borough, that the IBEC is being, where we're applying to the IBEC for it, and they are paying 100% of Remington Vernick's fees for designs, which include the second phase of Main Street, Mine Street, the PFAS system, and any work needed to satisfy the EPA on North Main Street. So that is hundreds of thousands of dollars in design work that are gonna be gifted by the state. Next, I am appointing Catherine Abarca, who lives on East Main Street, as alternate number 3 on the planning board, her term expiring 12/31/26. I also received very late notice, like 6:30 tonight, which I haven't had a chance to look at it. But I had requested that Melissa Swingle, the chair of the Environmental Commission, along with members of the Environmental Commission, do a survey of the elements of the streetscape, which have been sitting. This came about with the disappearing tree in front of Mr. Pops in the Dork House. And what happened to that tree, which is part of the streetscape project. Our DPW superintendent relayed that a lot of the elements of the streetscape project were now broken, were damaged, were missing, and some of the trees needed to be tended to. I believe Melissa did all this work on her own with 1 or 2 of her kids. She's done a full report and worked with Mike Campion to see exactly what he wanted. So she has a list now of what needs to be replaced or some things just need to be fixed. And some of those great systems, like one piece is missing in one area, and totally different pieces missing, someplace else. So instead of ordering 2, we could order 1 and just break it apart. But that's what she's thinking about. So she sent it off to myself and Mike, like I said, around 6:30 tonight. I've not seen it. I will be sending it out to the whole council as soon as I get a chance to and take a look at it. And I want to thank her for doing that work. Otherwise, probably the DPW guys would have had to have done it. I also just want to do a small update regarding the parking committee. The parking committee is requesting that the Borough Council approve the purchase and installation of reticulating lights at Kapner and Allen Street by the school, the corner of the school's ball field, and also crossing towards North Main, and another one at North Main and Allen Street, crossing on Allen to the apartments. They run around, we have prices anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 per, each area needs 2. We do have money in the budget, I believe, for 3 sets. This would be 2 of those 3 sets. And it would be good to move forward on that and have those installed before school starts if possible. These are solar operated, so they don't need any electric. And we were looking for help from Bill Hunter, and they could not offer us any financial help. So we will end up going to state contract and seeing what they have under state contract. Is the council okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I ask one more question.
Sure.
Did we get anything with Jay asking the state about Main Street Circle?
Yeah, so Jay's had many conversations with the state. And the state, even though all but one of those areas belong to the state. And it comes out to 8 different areas, I believe it's 16 lighting.
Would be a lot.
The state has 2 requirements. One is that we pony up 25,000, I'm sorry, 25% of the cost. And 2, they require state police to do all of the monitoring. So the cost of the project was like $180,000. So at this point, we're gonna be contacting state legislators because it's the state, it's been identified as dangerous. And it's only gonna become more so. And them trying to push any of the cost down to us just as wrong.
So they actually gave us the cost, right, our 25% cost would be
It would be basically,
180,000
well, it's 180,000 plus the police.
plus.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the cost is like 6,000 light, for them, it's like 10,000.
And these are state roads ultimately.
They're all state roads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll
the only
work
one
forever.
we were looking at was there was the one that goes across Grable Avenue, which is our road. All the others are not. So that's where that's at. So it's kind of nowhere right now. Other than in a debate. Also, so there were the reticulating light that we had talked about ages ago on 9th Street all the way down by the church. When Jay went out there with my Campion, they found there was no way to install. Only on one side of the road, the other side of the road was just absolutely no land. It's sidewalk, it's the way that Shields Avenue is offset. Jay just basically nixed the whole idea that that was feasible. And so he's proposed,
The retaining wall was the, that affected it too.
I'm sorry, say again.
The retaining wall in front of the church.
The retaining wall in front of the church was a large part of the problem because that sidewalk's very narrow right there. So he countered us with suggesting we put up a mesa or a table, which is like it raised up and then it flattens out and then it goes down. There is one on Hart Boulevard in Raritan Township. There is another one down in Frenchtown right before the bridge. And so members of the committee went out and took a look at these or said they were, I'm not holding anybody accountable, but the chief looked at it and my Campion, Mike actually took out plow equipment and had no objection to putting one of these in because it's not a speed hump. But it's just like this slow thing. So we recommended that when Remington Burnick designs the Main Street project, that they include that mesa down there where we wanted to put the reticulating light to slow traffic down. And finally, the chief also, when he's here, he can speak for himself. Right now, we do not have an ordinance on the books regarding dumpsters. The chief has the right to approve a dumpster and there's no way to, what's the word, chief?
It's a struggle to get them to come pick it back up.
Right, to get, because there's no deadline, there's nothing, because we don't have an ordinance. So we've been having increasing problems with getting to residents who do a lot of work, fill up the dumpster, and then they don't have the money to get rid of the dumpster. So he's requested an ordinance to be drafted that would allow people to apply for up to a 20 cubic yard dumpster for 15 days and then request another 15 on top of it. So 15 days gives everybody 2 weekends and up to 30 days. Susan, do you remember if there was a fee? I can't remember if we had set a fee or not.
Well, I think we.
It was low,
We
if we
said,
did.
well, what we said was the first phase, I believe, would be basically included in the construction, permitting, so
Yes.
you get whatever amount of time to begin with that would be reasonable to do your construction work, because we don't wanna discourage people from, improving their
Is
homes.
this for private residences?
Yes,
Um,
they sit in front.
Well, not necessarily, it could be for a commercial, like it's anywhere on a public road.
We're
just
talking
so-
about parking them on the street.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Parking it in your driveway, it's in your driveway, it's just, but not everybody has driveways, so we don't wanna we don't wanna burden people, we don't wanna. Discourage people from improving their properties, whether it's
Right.
commercial or residential.
So wait a minute, you're saying for 15 days?
Well, we thought 2 weekends would be appropriate for, but that,
For
that's.
several-
Depends on what
for
you're
several-
Well, I can.
And that's right, but then they get another 15,
Depends on
so
what
it's a
you're
whole
doing.
month.
Right.
Okay.
So if we're just talking about it, it wasn't a fee to begin with, but like, if, the longer it went on, then you would put a fee attached to it to encourage them to pick it up.
No,
is the only-
I'm not arguing that point,
Yeah.
What I guess what my point, my thing is, if you give them 15 days, that's 30 days, so why wouldn't you just say 30 days and after that, then you're gonna be fine, because 2 weeks is like nothing, I know I'm getting ready to.
Honestly, I don't remember what the timeline we
It-
talked
because
about,
it's all
we'll look about it
depends on the
tomorrow.
contract.
It's 2:15.
Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow at the committee
I
meeting for
mean,
sure,
I-
but
I
I don't
understand
really
the
remember
cutoff
what the
is-
exact term.
First never goes on.
Talk-
my desk.
It just seems to me, if you're gonna do it, just do it for 30 days.
15,
I think some of the small
Yeah,
practices that a
it's
lot of
something
people.
just to encourage
Yeah, my
something
desk.
Maybe on
I'll
a
have it.
basement or whatever, so keep it there for 30 days, even if they don't need it there for 30 days.
Okay.
But I would just like to make a statement at any given, at one point, we had one on one street and one on the corner there. And they sat out there for quite some time, and then there was also another one that was brought up in the back of the house behind me. That did just damage to the houses back there as well, so we absolutely.
I don't dispute, I don't
We actually
dispute
want
any
them
of
on
that.
the street,
I
but we
don't
don't want
dispute
them.
No,
any
you
of
can't
that.
just do it for
I
30
don't
days.
dispute any of that, I don't dispute any of that, I think it's all right. The point of it is the time thing is, to me, is just like, then you gotta go back, to me, that's just not convenient. Just do it for 30 days, and then in 30 days, you get fined if you don't get it up. On the 31st day, if it's not gone, here's a fine. But you can't do like a small
And a
fine, you
fine,
gotta do a
right.
fine.
Yeah, we certainly wanna make sure that our police department feels empowered. to make these
Well, yeah.
decisions, and they have what they need.
Yeah,
to
no,
make
I get that, but I'm just talking about the fine, if
I-
you do a fine, then the fine needs to be a fine and not like, okay, we're gonna slap you with $25, that. You know what? That and a bubble gun will get you
I'm the
nowhere.
biggest fan of finding people, so.
Well, we don't wanna nickel and dime people from the beginning, that's what we're saying,
We're saying like nickel and dime, I'm
Understood.
more of a concern for those people who abuse that.
No,
and
I-
that's it.
I am
But we
so
have
on
that
board
now.
with you on
right?
that, really, I don't think there's an
Okay.
argument on this, I think we're all on board with this, it's just, it's 30 days, and then what does the fine look like? That's what you really gotta narrow down. Cause the fine needs to be substantial.
We'll talk about it right when we're.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for my report, council members. Councilman Levitt?
The newsletter has been published and Mayor Carey and I are in the process of distributing it around town. I also wanted to just note that we did have a wonderful fireworks show this year despite the rain and weather. And of course, I too wanted to thank Mr. Haney for putting it all together and all the other volunteers who made it possible. The Shade Tree Commission meeting was unfortunately canceled due to a lack of a quorum this month. So I would like to put it out there that we have 3 open seats, 1 full member and 2 alternates. And if there are any residents interested in joining, we will let me, the mayor, or the commission chairwoman know that you're interested. We'd like to do some work on Shade Tree Commission. All right.
We are currently very heavy with members who are on the east side of Maine. We've lost a number of members from the west side of Maine, so. to spread this wealth out.
And lastly, as you all know, on the agenda and received a copy of last week, we finally have a new zoning ordinance or set of zoning ordinances, and very excited to discuss that later. So that's it. That's my report.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Sarah.
Thank you, Mayor. Very late this week. We have not had a planning board meeting for some time now due to not having enough agenda. The library board takes off pretty much for the summer each year. I did want you to know and to thank Councilman Arias. I did take note of your cleanup in Peckenberg Park. You immediately responded to complaints from borough residents by going out there yourself and getting it done. And one thing that I found in my year and a half on council, the halfway mark, is if you can just touch one or two residents by something real and active that they can see, your time here is well done. So just thank you.
It's great, thank you.
Council President Parker.
Yeah, just a couple of things. So first of all, let me just say that after a couple of meetings with DPW, police, and FIT, the Orange Tomato Beer Festival is officially going to be canceled this year. However, we are going to have Harvest Festival, which will not take place in Stangle, it will take place on Main Street. Same date, October 4th, rain date is October 18th. For several reasons that I'm not gonna go into right now, but it just, I think our concern is safety, and our concern is, can a project that needs to be done in time, so it was just a matter of, let's just level this and get this going. So that is definitely gonna happen. I did talk to, and also in that meeting, I just want to bring this up because I think this is important. We were talking about parking and how people are gonna park because of Main Street, right? There's not a lot of parking. Even if you go to the county lot or whatever, yes, they do. So there is a solution for that because we're gonna use the high school parking lot to do the parking. But also what dawned on me is that as you guys, and I'm putting this out to the park people, parking committee, it is not, it won't matter what you're doing, we don't have enough parking in this town, so we have to have some kind of structure. And Mike actually brought up and said, which I thought was a novel idea, is that why wouldn't we use 8 Main by DPW to put a structure up, because we own it and we don't have to ask for anyone, so it's just something to consider. I think we should give some strong consideration. My concern again, and I keep voicing this over and over and over again, it won't matter what you do, there's still not gonna be enough parking for this town. It's just not.
Well, see, I mean, I would say, let's see what happens, because the Justice Complex, which is empty completely at night and on weekends, because it's only used for jury duty, holds, I wanna say it's almost 300 or 400 parking spaces and signage, sending people there, only a block and a half from Main Street. You know, I mean, it's literally right down.
I think we should explore all the options. I mean, I'm fine with that, but I think that it eventually is gonna come down to, as all these projects start getting finished, it's still gonna be when people are in town on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Forget about the weekends, it's just during the week. Do you have enough parking? That's the point. I mean, I don't wanna debate that now, I'm just throwing it out as something to chew on. I do think it's a viable option that we should, I think the council should really take a look at this and explore it and find out more information about it and not just throw it out right now. I also talked to Jack Cuss about the progress of what's going on. I actually talked to him because we don't want the hotel to open during the time of the festival. It's just, I think it's gonna be too much, so I actually asked him if he could delay the opening until the end of October or the beginning of November, which he is in lockstep with. He thought that was actually a good idea, so because of the rain date of the 18th, I just didn't want anything to lock with that. So I just think each one of those needs to be their own separate celebrations. So he's agreed, and apparently they're making great progress. We will probably get a tour of it sometime soon.
Do you know if they're leasing apartments yet?
I didn't ask that question.
It's still rooms.
I didn't ask that question. I can ask, but I didn't ask that question. That wasn't where my focus was, but I can certainly ask it. I do want to bring up when we talk about stop signs. Here's my concern. Because I live on Broad Street, there's a stop sign right in front of my house. I've talked about this ad nauseam. No one is really stopping at that stop sign. They're not, and it's a joke. And there was almost another accident that happened today. Because somebody didn't stop, and I'm just looking and going, okay, this has gotten way out of hand. There's gotta be something that's done. What I noticed was, and Scott brought this up, there is painted in the road on the stop sign before this one that says stop ahead to let everybody know that there is a stop sign ahead. I think part of the problem is that it's hidden, it's not visible, it's overbid. And you don't see it until you really get up on it. And so I think it's a problem. It is a problem. I am telling you, I've almost gotten hit 3 times coming out of my driveway, and I am not gonna be a happy camper. If my car or Scott's car or one of our visitors' cars get hit because someone doesn't stop at that stop sign, it's gotten out of hand.
I mean, I can ask Jay to take a look at that. I mean, that request came from the neighborhood. It was not from the parking committee. It came from
It's a
your
matter
neighbor
of where,
across the street, and your neighbor to your right.
I'm not,
So,
it's
But
not a
he's saying-
matter of who's got it, it's where it is and the fact
do
that
you think
it
it's
is not
CC moved?
visible. It's not visible and there's nothing that warrants that there's a stop sign there. So it's not a matter of not being there, it's a matter of it's a matter of logistics and is it the right thing? That's the point. Is it placed in the right place? Should it be moved over some? Should it come to the street some? Should it go back some? Should there just be something as simple in the street that says stop ahead? It's just that easy. It doesn't,
We'll put
we
Jay
just
on.
need to do something. You know, again, I'm just big on dotting i's and crossing t's and not just doing something. The other thing that I will bring up, so there is an art festival that's going on. I don't know if you guys know this, at the Chamber of Commerce building. They do it every year. And we actually need to do something to recognize this organization because they do a really good job at focusing on local artists. I think they had, I think they had 75 or 80 displays. They had 125 submissions, and I think they had to narrow it down because it used to be at Red Vanilla, and now that's sold, now it's in the chamber, so they're trying to get their footing. But it was a great turnout. The artwork is amazing. So I would encourage everybody to go and take a look at it and see it and support it. But again, I think the council is a council. I'm gonna ask for us to do some type of recognition for the organization. There's also a donor in that organization that actually gave a substantial amount of money to the organization to keep them up and running. So again, that was it. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Ryan.
Yes, well, first of all, I want to thank Mark Hain, obviously for all his efforts for the fireworks as well, and for also seeing one of the biggest tarps I think I've ever seen in my life. It's kind of crazy. I worked construction for 2 years, man. I've never seen anything like that before, so I appreciate the help there a lot, really. Even with the terrible weather, I honestly thought we were gonna have fireworks, but figured out and everything was perfect, really, so thank you, Mark, appreciate your help there. Moving on, I did want to talk about Wednesday, so I just saw on Facebook a post about how Tuckerberry Park was kind of looking a lot of weeds in I guess the playground area. And someone had a concern there, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out and do something. But it was last minute, you know, so not a lot of people were informed about it. Thankfully, Susan and Noah, her son, were able to come out and help me out. Supplying some tools as well for any extra help just digging out some of the stuff there. And yeah, I got most of it done. I was there from 9
That's
to
pretty
like
incredible,
3
actually.
o'clock, and took all the weeds out there.
And it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
That's pretty incredible.
And to go off of that, I thought I'd do something off of it because something I ran on was to bring more community to the town, like have more stuff going on here. And the Tuckerberry Park always had I always had an eye on it. I just didn't know what to do. And I think it's just kind of I guess, a good way to do something from there. So the 23rd, Wednesday, I'm gonna go back there at 9 o'clock. I got some people who wanna come help me out, they're gonna bring their weed whacker, some other people said they're down to come out. You don't even have to come and help out, do any weeding, honestly, just want people to go out there. I also got my dad to volunteer and do some cooking out there too, so we're gonna get the grill out, I'm gonna bring some steak out, and it's all free, music.
Diane. Chicken eggs?
No, not that.
Not that.
We'll do like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I gotta
Peanut
do,
butter.
I gotta see who do work over.
Yeah, you have to work on the exact like that.
No, but it's just come out, she'll bring out the amount of food. Some food, drinks and music, but it's gonna be on a JBL speaker, okay, no live music. So yeah, it's just I think it's a great way for just.
This is gonna be when?
Just Wednesday, so
Wednesday,
yeah, everyone wants to come out.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's also just a great way to just talk to people, any other concerns you may have about the
You
park.
know how long it's gonna go for?
I say till whenever, that you guys get tired, at least, or I get tired, I don't know. but- So, yeah, I mean, I'll be there till last time I was there till 3 o'clock, so.
Okay, I'll make it.
Yeah,
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'll definitely help you.
You, Patrick,
Make the second grade.
exactly.
Yeah.
And,
First wave ended around 12:31,
something like that, yeah.
when the teenager got tired.
Right. And yeah, so that's that for the parks brag there. So, and then also just last Saturday, we had the ice cream social for those at the Fleming House. I just want to thank St. Scoops for donating 3 gallons of vanilla ice cream as well. Usually get it from ShopRite, but we could already ask a lot from them for the turkey tray. So we decided to go somewhere else, and that's about it. Thank you.
Hey, Brandon, have you, just under something to consider, the Boy Scouts always need to do some type of project. So that might be a project, yeah, I know they're probably off in the summer, but maybe in the fall. So Chris Fallon, Chamber of Commerce, I'll give you his number and we'll call him, yeah, call him because he can connect you with the scout leaders in a little bit. That would be, so that would be a really good project for them, and the Girl Scouts as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
great, thank you. Councilman Warren?
Thank you. So a few things, OEM, I don't have a proper report this evening, but I just want to thank Sergeant McNally for his extraordinarily accurate weather guru, whatever he did.
Yeah.
It wasn't looking good, and he said, nope, show's going on. So thanks to the OEM there, and of course, again, Mr. Haynes, it was a wonderful show as usual, and we have a front row seat. So it's really awesome. As far as the police department, there, for the month of June, we were looking at 24 criminal investigations. There were 13 arrests made. And there was a motor vehicle crash, during the month of June. The department investigated a total of 37 crashes. Out of these, 3 involved commercial vehicles and 3 of the crashes reported injuries. Officers are enforcing all stop signs throughout the town. Police department encourages everyone to remain alert and follow all traffic signage. Officers have been actively enforcing traffic laws through town with particular focus on distracted driving, sign enforcement and speeding. Ensuring roadway safety remains a top priority. If you have a traffic related concern or complaint about your street, please don't hesitate to contact the department. Their number is 908-782-3434, and they certainly appreciate the community's help. Community policing, the June 14th Public Safety Day, which again, a rained event, but it went off, it went out. It happened at the shops of Flemington. It was outstanding success. It was hosted by the Flemington Police Department in partnership with the OEM, Fire Department, Rescue Squad, and the Department of Public Works. It brought together families, residents of all ages for a memorable day of fun, learning, and engagement. Attendees enjoyed the exciting live demonstrations, hands-on experiences with emergency vehicles and equipment, wide array of food, crafts, entertainment. It was a good opportunity for community connection and the local first responders, and learning about public safety. As mentioned in my previous reports, on September 20th, there will be a partnership with Herndon Health and other local organizations to conduct a mock traffic stop designed for individuals with autism spectrum disorder, as well as the general public. The event aims to raise awareness and promote understanding between law enforcement and individuals with ASD, providing a safe and educational environment to navigate traffic scenarios. Additional details will be shared as the event draws near. Community outreach opportunity, the Flemington Police Department is excited to announce their expansion of that program. The initiative aims to strengthen relationships between law enforcement and residents by enhancing neighborhood safety through education and cooperation. This year, new community engagement and education groups will be formed to provide residents with a platform to voice their concerns and learn preventative safety measures and build proactive relationships with law enforcement. By working together, we can create a more secure and connected community. So if you're interested in hosting an event on your street, we encourage you to reach out. Hosting that gathering is a great way to bring your neighbors together, address community concerns, receive valuable safety advice from experienced officers. More information or to schedule a meeting, contact Chief Rotella at the department. As you know, on July 7th, two of our newest officers, Adrian Marsiglia and Megan Reed, were officially sworn in by the mayor. Both officers will begin their training in Monmouth County Police Academy today, the 21st, and are expected to return to the department following their graduation on December 16th. And finally, a message to the community: road work is currently taking place pretty much all over the place. So the department urges drivers to slow down, stay alert near construction zones. Please reduce your speed, watch for changing traffic patterns, remain aware of your surroundings. The safety of workers, officers, and all road users is our top priority. By staying attentive and cautious, you can prevent accidents and ensure everyone's well-being. The department asks that you follow all posted signs, listen to directions from traffic flaggers and police officers, and be patient as these important roadway improvements are completed. As far as the last item, it's for the Lyceum Society. So this Thursday, the 24th, after you're done helping Councilman Arias at the park, the next day you can come, the next evening, you can come and see the next lecture in the Flemington Lyceum Lecture Series. And that will be taking place, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this, President Parker, at the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce building. That's at 119 Main Street.
Yeah.
So we're gonna gather in the rear space where the ramp is on the side of the building. Music will be performed by Matt Hand at 6:30. And Jeff Doshno will be presenting his lecture entitled "Who Lives Here? Housing, Access, and Equity in Our Town." That begins at 7. And I will say at the last lecture, we had some really terrific comments from the audience and some generally constructive and overly positive conversation. And people were speaking honestly and engaging in real dialogue, which is really the goal of all this. It was actually a lot of fun, and people left feeling pretty good from what I could tell. So let's keep it going. And if you can drop off some light bites or snacks, that would be really appreciated. And let me know. And that's my report.
Say this on Thursday.
Thursday night, 6:30.
I'll read all of this.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Okay, thank you. I don't wanna repeat too much. The animal control report for the month of June. We always have new animals. This month we have a turtle who was hurt, poor thing, a baby bird, and 2 dog incidents. One was dog versus dog and one was person versus dog. Courts follow up when they are required to, in those cases. The second thing is, I know a lot of people mention the fireworks. I wanna mention, something about that. There was, not only did the OEM do a great job and Mark do a great job, we had a couple, new, sponsors this year, and one of them was one that I had suggested to Mark, which was Farmers Insurance, and I think we posted I believe we posted all of the sponsors online. But particularly Farmers Insurance, they were out there with their tent and keeping everybody dry, so I wanna give a shout out to them. Because they're a local business, and it is a lot of Raritan Township and Flemington Borough businesses. And some of the smaller businesses like farmers come in and give money, and surprisingly some of the larger ones don't. But either way, I just want to shout out to farmers, because with that crazy rain, they really came through and helped everybody stay dry in that emergency. The parking committee, as both Adrian and the mayor mentioned, is tomorrow. I'm going to raise tomorrow, and I got approached by a neighbor on East Main yesterday. So I gave Jay a call and just asked him if we could discuss at tomorrow's meeting, East Main. That seems to be a concern of some people, so I'm gonna ask that we, just talk about that, the street and see what we can do to help those people out. I also attended the Sam Fleming ice cream social, and I have to say, Brandon's cousin, the vanilla ice cream was just amazing, like the best. It was so good. More importantly, and this kind of relates to both Sam Fleming and the cleanup at the park the other day. You know, we can't see everything, and I really appreciated the local person who very kindly and politely on social media, wasn't on the historic Flemington website, but very calmly and politely said, hey, what can we do about all these weeds in the playground? And they were huge. Now, I don't know about any of you, but it hasn't stopped raining for 3 months and over my house. And I get it. In fact, the two dates that we had scheduled for the park cleanup both got rained out. So we kind of didn't have a chance in heck there. At any rate, when they posted it, and of course, this social media get on the bandwagon, they're kind of rude and stuff. But this one person was very kind and very thoughtful. And then Brandon said, hey, I'm gonna be there tomorrow morning, and my son and I brought a bunch of equipment over, and then worked and brought over some breakfast. And then I've arranged because we want to make sure that all the work that's done stays good, and because there's no rain forecast this week, knock on wood, we arranged for the mulch that we were supposed to get delivered in the spring to get delivered tomorrow. So when you come on Wednesday morning, bring a wheelbarrow, bring a rake, so we can spread that mulch to both the playground areas. And the reason why I mention this is that, people are always looking for ways to help, and groups like the Society of Neighbors are really great to organize. But opening your eyes and just saying something and how can I help and jumping in really, really does help. None of us have kids under the age of 10 of this. Honestly, I did not realize, and I do apologize, and realized in the last few months that it grew. I know the DPW had recently mowed there because it was clearly recently mowed, but they have a lot to do on a day-to-day basis, and they probably just hadn't gotten around to that in their regular, maintenance schedule, again, probably because of the rain. So when it comes to the big, huge tarp that is stored in Mark's garage that my husband and Councilman Levin and I folded up, or Brandon opened up the day before the day of the fireworks, or the Sam Fleming, there was a death in the family with one of the volunteers, and they really need some backup last minute. I sent a note out saying, hey, anybody that can help. It's those kind of opportunities we really appreciate you bring to our attention. It's not that we're ignoring, we just don't realize, and we can rally the troops and get people to help. So the fireworks, or the Sam Fleming, or the park, all those are really great things of people that stepped up and are continuing to, and I really appreciate it and thank you for all that help. So yeah, the saying goes, if you see something, say something, and we appreciate when you say it, like, that's it.
So Mark, do we send out thank you notes to the sponsors from the borough?
I have sent emails to those who have donated, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilman, are you done?
Yes.
I just want to bring up one thing, which is the recreation grant. You and I were sent an email today from Bill Hans that the recreation grant that was awarded to the borough for like $70,000 in 2023 that you applied for, that the state has put us on notice that if it's not spent by the spring of 2026, we're losing that money. And Bill is advising that we need to do something this fall. And I still have not seen a list on what we were able to do with that, and I think that it really needs to come to the governing body in August, so a decision could be made about how that money's gonna get spent. Cause it's gotta get spent fast according to Bill.
Yeah, and I actually talked to Bill about that because I was surprised too when I got the email at 11 o'clock and he said, well, there's a deadline at 3 o'clock. And I said, well, pick up the phone call. We got that all straightened out. But yeah, I'd like to sit down with you and Mike and myself and Bill. The grant, that I don't get any of those emails. I know that you and Mike are the leads on the
I've never
emails.
gotten an email. from
Neither
him,
have I.
Ever.
So I don't know who's listed on that, those
Mike
emails.
Humphries, we put down the administrators.
Okay, well, he was not listed on the application that, you know, that I filled out, but maybe the way it was set up originally.
Possibly.
I don't know, I know that, my
Bill should have been
champion
on-
was
Bill is the one who
listed.
should have been on there,
Yeah, he's listed on there too.
but he's listed as finance person, so, but he
Right.
said he never got anything. Carl
Yeah,
never got anything,
it's-
I never got anything.
I haven't
You
got
never got anything.
Not from the state, no, so I was really surprised too, but
So
either
Mike
way.
Humphries passing.
Who knows?
I don't
South
think
Carolina.
so, I mean, I don't think so, but either way, you know, we can all log on to that grant application and see it, and I know that. We printed it out and it was also sent via email originally when, you know, you had to sign it and Bill had to sign it and stuff.
I only saw this any page, I never saw the grant. So,
So let's sit down and make a plan, there's not, as I mentioned to Bill, there's nothing that is. Like that's enormously huge that we necessarily have to go out for a big full-blown public bid on, because most of them are either. Most of the scope was planned purposely to be either under the bid threshold. Where it was either bought on state contract or even lower than that, you know, if there was like 5 benches to be bought, you did that on state contract. If it was the soccer field that was regraded, it was less than $53,000, I think was the threshold, if I'm not mistaken, or 52. So, yeah, let's sit down and go over that.
right.
I was surprised, just like you were when I saw the email.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you. All right, we're at public comment session 1. We did get an email requesting if you consider part of public comment, which I don't or do have to do, but it was from the owner of Lone Eagle requesting that we look at some recent legislation to allow him to go back to having a tent in the parking lot. I think that really needs to be referred to the planning board, because that's all part of his, you know, the parking spaces and the handicap spots and all that are all part of his resolution for them to opine, unless the council just wants to give it to him or just doesn't want to give it to him. But
I mean, I think that should be up for discussion, but I'm fine with the quantum thing.
Yeah, I know that was part of his original site plan application, which I know I was sitting on the board at the time. So yeah, I'm fine with it being reviewed by the planning board. It's a little tricky because half of those sites are on is owned by the public, and half of those parking lot spots are on private property. The parking, the property line literally goes right through, kind of on an angle. So I prefer to the planning board to take the lead on that. I do wanna mention, I had trouble opening the attachment that he sent, so.
No, I got it, but I think.
Could you not open it either? Okay, I don't feel so bad.
I could open it, but the point of it is that, here's my take on it, this is just me. Is that what I really wanna be careful of is that we're not. In any kind of whatever, we're not looking and making special allowances for people. It's that if this is what it is, this is what it is, and we don't slide backwards. That's all I wanna make sure of. I don't know, when I read that, I was like, okay, but that's just me. I don't know if everybody else got a chance to read it.
I read it in detail and I was actually able to open the attachment, and my thought is it does need to go to the planning board. We need to review it. And to that note, we do have a pretty fluid approach from the borough to zoning. We're gonna have that discussion tonight, but at least we can take a look at it as a board. Mayor, would it be read into our comments tomorrow evening?
I'll just forward his email,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
and then we can take it up and nobody's gonna have time to like address it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Our professionals certainly, so it'll get addressed in 2 weeks. You know, we kind of have the meeting.
Oh, wait, 10 minutes. That's a lot this summer.
So open to the public, anybody from the public, certainly. We're on,
Do you wanna go up?
line,
You gotta go up. Yep.
I just need your,
Sorry, I have
it's okay.
knee replacement.
Oh, there, oh.
Have a seat.
Hours in the hospital last night, but anyway.
I just need you, please have a seat, and I need your name and your address for the
I'm
record.
Dave Cutterback. I own property across from the firehouse, which is 24-26 Court Street. It's the yellow house there. And well, I guess it must have been about 6 months ago, came in and asked if we could get the signs up there to stop these big trucks from turning the corner because they're destroying the sidewalks.
Right.
And thank God, I don't know, I guess it was you guys that did it, I'm not sure, but thank God the signs are up there now. In fact, one of my neighbors said that he saw one started to turn and then saw the sign kept on going. But anyway, the main problem I have now is the sidewalk is all ripped up. And I'm worried that somebody's gonna trip on it and get hurt. I have two witnesses that saw a Costco truck turn that corner. Almost took down the pole, the light, or the, what do you call it, the telephone pole across the street, missed it by about 3 or 4 inches. And ripped up the sidewalk and kept on going. We identified the truck and everything, but they declined to even try and get in and try and fix it. They said it was cracked before or something like that. I don't know exactly. If it was cracked before, it was probably before I even owned the place. But at any rate, my good neighbor, who I know probably all of you know, his name is John DeSwick. I call him the mayor of the street.
So do I.
He's a nice guy. But he went and he unfortunately didn't take pictures of all the damage that the truck did when he plowed up the sidewalk. And he put it all back together, so it looked like it did years ago or whatever. And anyway, I got a call from California on Costco and that they're denying wanting to do anything about it. They claim it's not their fault, it was already there.
Did you ever submit a police report? Did you ever submit a police?
Yes, I did, and it was later because I was trying to settle the thing as quietly as possible. And then after they did that to me, I then called the police department and they never really investigated it. They did a report, but it's not like they went and gave the guy a ticket for leaving the scene of the accident and all that good stuff. So, you know, I'm not sure what officer did it. I know, I have a folder, I think, that has a letter in it where they told me that, we have to, you know, if we wanna do something about it, we gotta go to court and all this good stuff.
Have you contacted your insurance company?
No,
So under our ordinance, sidewalks are the responsibility of the homeowner.
yeah, well,
So,
unfortunately, I got a
You might,
$2,000 deductible. and-
but you might want to report it to your insurance company and see if they'll subrogate for you and go after Costco.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay,
meanwhile, the chief is gonna investigate as to who did the
Yeah.
investigation or lack thereof.
but I do think that, you know, there's a certain responsibility to town, since they finally agreed to put the signs up. Then maybe they were partially responsible. by not
Well,
having the sign.
actually, we have a weight restricting ordinance on all of Park Avenue. Those trucks shouldn't even be on Park Avenue unless they're making a delivery.
Yeah,
So when they end up over here, it's because they didn't get off on Route 31, they went straight by accident. And they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
But Park Avenue is already weight restricted.
and it was my understanding that this guy got lost or something. And he made the turn there and then just plowed the sidewalk up and just kept on
He shouldn't
going.
have been on Park Avenue way before he should have been on Court Street.
Well, I understand, but he
That's
turned on
right,
court,
but-
into court.
Right, but it's not the town's fault that he turned on Court Street when he already shouldn't have been on Park Avenue.
Well, it should have been a sign there where it shouldn't have turned anyway.
and now there is.
But there was signs on Park Avenue.
Right, it's already
Oh, I
waiting.
don't know about them.
Yeah.
My
They were already-
point is he was already breaking the law by being on Park Avenue.
Oh,
So we never should have had to have signed court because he shouldn't have been on Park Avenue.
oh, I didn't know that. I
But now
had no way of
it's
knowing
super
that.
clear, but the chief will look into that investigation. And you might wanna talk to your insurance company.
Okay, all right.
I just a minor note, and I know that Councilman Levitt and I are pretty much of one mind on this in terms of the homeowner is taxed out to the curb.
Guess what?
We are taxed out to the curb.
Oh,
And so as we start looking in over the next few months, I think it would be worth at least saying, we need to at least explore what it would take to get our sidewalks ADA compatible. Cleaned up, not, my sidewalks are great.
mhm.
I've seen a woman with a walker have to get off of my sidewalk, go into the street, go around and go back with a walker.
Yeah,
So it's more than just, it's more than.
yeah, well, it's
It's
like,
our
you know,
sidewalks
something
are
that's sticking
awful.
up in the air and whatnot, and John did a pretty good job putting it back together as best he could. But he was the main witness in this case. He saw the guy turn the corner, saw that he almost hit that telephone pole, and also saw him drag the stuff off and just keep on going. But I also had a tenant, she heard, she thought they smashed her car. She came running out and saw the Costco truck going on down the street. But it's just this, we've been kind of going circles here. But I got a couple of quotes on how much it would cost to fix that. And the lowest one I came up with was about almost $2,000.
25 years ago.
I don't think I'm responsible for that, I really don't.
25 years ago, the borough did a bond issue. Anybody who wanted to have their sidewalk fixed was able to borrow money at 0 interest from the borough.
Yeah,
And the borough used their contractor, so it was very low cost, and then anybody who wanted their sidewalk fixed, got the difference of this pool of money and had a lien put on property and paid it off over, I think it was 5 years or something like that.
yeah, but if I didn't do it, I should.
But the problem is now, we just don't have the bond capacity, we have all these street projects. We're under orders from the EPA to do a project, we're under orders from the federal government to take care of plastics in our water. So it's like, our bond capacity is just not there to do, like, it's just not there. I mean, I'd love to be able to do one of those and say, all right, you could borrow the money from us, 0% interest, pay it back over 5 years. But
Well,
like, that means we're not gonna be doing galvanized lead water connections, which we're under orders from the state to do. Or fix our sewer and water
I
lines.
just fail to understand why I should be responsible for what somebody else did.
Well, I said,
If I could just add, even if we issued a summons, it's still a civil matter, so you'd have to pursue with Costco in
Yeah.
a civil court, as like the mayor said,
Yeah.
insurance.
Okay,
There would be no, like, even if we issued a summons, doesn't mean the town would be able to fix that, obviously, because it is your property,
yeah,
so it's a civil matter. You have
Okay.
to-
all right, well,
Get
anyway.
the money from Costco.
And they,
You need to get the money from Costco.
I know, but they're not cooperating at all.
they do push us up to warrant.
So,
They push Flemington residents up to a court and warrant,
I have to
so
check
that's
the
a
court.
heads up
It
for you.
depends on what it needs.
All right, well, thank you for listening.
Thanks for being patient.
Depends on when the report.
Anybody else from the public? We're online. Come on, Mark. Just need your address for the record.
Mark Hain, 28 New York Avenue. Hey, you were talking earlier about the dumpsters and stuff like that, so just. I would make sure unless you're gonna limit that size, cause I know when I moved in the house, they brought a 30-yard, and I thought you were saying 20.
Which I can't remember. I know I said 20, but I can't remember. what
But
it
just, I would just make sure not that you're locked in where somebody. Oh, I can't bring that here unless you don't want them to bring it, but I know typically that. Like where I work, they bring like 15 or 30, so I just didn't want you to write something and then
Thank you.
not.
Did
have
you
it
suggest
be.
making it bigger to 30? Cause I can't. remember
30
what we
is the
suggested.
typical
Okay,
big one.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we
But I
said.
just didn't want you to write it and then somebody not be able to
No,
get
that's a
it.
good
Yeah,
point,
got it.
you don't necessarily, you may ask for a 20, but they have only 30s on their site, and that's what they end up dumping in your driveway or.
Correct, correct.
You're right.
Okay, you go. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else from the public? No, we got line, okay, seeing none. Move on to the agenda. Approval of minutes, Can I have a motion for the regular minutes, June 23rd, 2025?
Warren move.
There's a second,
Martel second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Executive session minutes, June 23rd, 2025. Can I have a motion,
Warren
please?
move.
There's a second,
Perfect, second.
in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Consent agenda, resolution 2025-109, resolution authorizing the Borough of Flemington to conduct an electronic tax sale prior to December 31st, 2025, and to charge mailing fees associated with said tax sale. Number 2, resolution 2025-110, resolution approving refund for the redemption of tax sale certificate on block 15 lot 27. Resolution 2025-111, resolution approving refund for the redemption of tax sale certificate on block 5 lot 12. Resolution 2025-112, resolution approving a refund for the redemption of tax sale certificate on block 34 lot 38. I swear to God, I'm getting a cold sitting in this. Resolution 2025-113, resolution approving a refund for the redemption of tax sale certificate on block 1 lot 11. Can I have a motion? Is that anybody want anything pulled off of the consent agenda for separate vote? Not, can I have a motion please for the consent agenda?
Pissarro move.
Is there a second?
Michael second.
Roll call please, Carla.
Councilman Harris,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vaughn,
Yes.
Council President Parker.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance 2025-20, an ordinance creating section 9-6, commercial change of tenancy or sale. In chapter 9, buildings and housing, to establish procedure for facilitating change of tenancy applications for commercial spaces or buildings. We'll get to a discussion in a second, but I do have asked Ken McCormick to come tonight. It's at his request that this ordinance be put into place. So before it's introduced, I would ask Ken to come forward and talk about why you asked for it and answer questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
This ordinance was requested probably almost 2 years ago now, in theory. Between myself, the construction official, my office upstairs, him, our TA and zoning, we started to identify a big problem in town. We have businesses showing up and opening stores, we have no idea they're there, and it's not safe. They're not zoned to be there. We have several problems going on right now, and as an example, we had somebody let us know they were gonna move out, closing their business. Okay. Well, they opened up somewhere else in town, and before the weekend was over, somebody new was in their old spot. We didn't know either one of them moved. So we're trying to get it under control, and Sue worked on this a while ago where she wants to make it where, hey, you do this when you get to town, you come and get your applications, and then this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. So that's what this ordinance spells out, pretty basic and simple as what you're gonna do to get into town. You go to zoning, you're gonna submit all your forms at one time, so the water department and the sewer department forms are in there. So the planning board's not putting that off, saying, well, we don't have them yet. Nope, they'll have them in front of them. All gonna be part of making this into a cohesive unit where nobody slips in. If they do, we have Mr. Corsini add penalties to this, right? We have a few landlords in town who we've spoken to directly and say, because we started using this quite a while ago, but there's no teeth behind it. I know other towns that say, hey, it's mandatory. Well, where's your ordinance? I want it or they don't have that. So somebody could just tell us, we're not doing it. We're just gonna move in. There's nothing we can do. So we had to do something to create an ordinance, put some teeth into it. And like Tony said, money's not involved. They're not gonna listen. So we're not trying to discourage anybody. We just want to know you're coming, make sure you're safe to be in the spot you're in. A lot of businesses want to open up and they're in what's called a B space for a business. When they want to open up as a mercantile. Well, if there's apartments upstairs, they might have to do work under the code. If they don't do that work and something happens and the place burns down, they're coming after the borough that we allowed it to be there. We might not have known it was there because they just opened, but we're trying to stop that now. And that's why, between myself and John, we came up with, let's word this up correctly. We gave it to the mayor, Mr. Corsini, so they got it worded into ordinance form, and all the other forms we put together. It's gonna be Appendix A, and that's what's gonna go out. Anybody wants to open a business, you come to Appendix A, and this is what you do, and now we'll fall in line with each other.
Can let me play devil's advocate. If they're already not asking, what makes this have them ask?
What happened, mix it what?
They're really not asking, they're just moving in without coming here.
Right, but now when we catch them, we can find.
Dave, then, it gives Dave some key.
A question, just a comment, we don't always, the planning board doesn't always know when a new business is even. coming in.
Oh, no.
It doesn't affect the
Yeah,
site.
the thing,
It doesn't
so,
really site
so
plan,
this
it's not
will,
gonna do it.
so this will give us some insight.
Well, this will give us too, when they come to us, it's, when John looks at it as zoning, he kicks it and says, no, you gotta go planning board for this. Now it's back to the
It
planning. board.
goes back, okay.
And now you're gonna have your Form As and everything else, and there's not gonna be any excuse where anything's missing.
But if they're already going into a space, that doesn't need that, now you have.
Now it's to
something
us,
like-
and we still have the basis now that you didn't need planning, because zoning says you could be there. Do you need to do any work to the building? No, fine. Now you're gonna do a new tenant certificate. And all four of our subcode inspectors are gonna go in and make sure the place is safe, because we've got into a few where people, because right now they can request a CCO under the Uniform Construction Code. We can't make them do that. We can make them do what we're calling here,
I'm sorry, the acronym, explain what CCO is, I don't mean to interrupt you.
continuing certificate of
Thank you.
occupancy. Right, we made it now where it's a new tenant certificate, which the borough could say, no, we want everybody to have a new tenant certificate, unless it goes that route where they need permits. And construction gets involved and they get that CCO in the long run. So we're trying to cover the whole scope of if they have to go to planning or if they're coming straight to construction. We know they're going there, and if not, now we're gonna have the teeth to say. You're not supposed to be here, you gotta go to planning, in the meantime, you're getting a penalty, and the building owner's gonna get one too. Alright, because they're all gonna be made aware as we go through this, several already know this is coming, I've been talking to them saying, listen, we're gonna make this ordinance. You know, you need to make sure your tenants do it, because we have a couple of landlords in town that keep throwing their noses up saying. No, I mean, we have emails, the last one business that opened, they were told by the TA, you don't have zoning, you don't have anything yet, you cannot move in, and guess what? They're there. And we're pretty sure they did construction work, so when we find it, we will deal with it.
So I have a couple of things. So first of all, this is about a process, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it has nothing to do with approving, it's about the process. That's what I think I'm hearing, that this is what the procedure is in order to go from. To
A to Z.
you could occupy this particular thing, okay.
Right.
So I'm a new person coming in. How do I know this? How do I know what the process is? How do I know what's going on? How do I know what to do? How do I know if like that, to me, that's the crux of the problem is that. I'm big on over communicating as opposed to under communicating and assuming. So how is this, the ordinance is fine. As such, but it goes back to. How do I know this exists, first of all, and how do I know what to do second?
We have a section on the website already for new businesses, so this will go on there in very clear language, the page one of appendix A, I don't know if you all got appendix A.
Yeah.
Basically spelled everything, I sent it to, I think, the mayor, Mr. Corsi, late Friday.
So which one
Sent it
that-
Friday. You may not, I can send it out to the,
It was included in the package.
Yeah.
That Carla gave us.
so the appendix A, basically the first page, and that explains everything that's gonna
It's
happen
in the box.
in your
It's in the
box.
Yeah.
Is that the one that has MTA or something like that in there? Okay, so that's where I'm having a problem with that A section, because that's under the O zoning or whatever, and we're doing a whole new zoning. So I mean, I would push back on that because it's the way it is written. Is written the way that it stands right now. And we're going through a process right now, and I don't wanna approve anything like that until that process is done, because. Hold on, because what it actually does say in there is it says that if you're a barber shop and you wanted to put in clothing. Then you'd have to go through this whole cycle all over again. I'm pushing back on it, because I
Do you
just
want me to
don't,
go print
yeah, you guys have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
It was included on in the electronic version of the
It's not in here.
package that Carla distributed, but no, I see it
It's
not
not in here,
printed
and
out.
that's what I was
I
pushing
don't
back.
remember it being that specific, I think.
It was.
It is,
It can.
Absolutely.
Ours is not, ours basically says you need to go, and this is what you do when you apply. That's where it's gonna throw us from, when John looks at it and says, well, no, this is a B and it has to go to an M. Then it's gonna go back to the planning board, and that's where that approval on your new zoning comes in.
It was really about who gets to look at these things and pass them around. It wasn't anything really about zoning.
No,
Yeah, it's not-
the attachment absolutely.
Yeah, no, zoning applications and everything, that's when John looks at it and says, No, this is okay, it doesn't need to go to
I
zoning.
know there were zoning applications attached, but there wasn't zoning
No,
attached.
it was not zoning. We don't do zoning. No,
So,
no.
so on the application, it
I'm
does not have
confused.
specific zoning districts on it.
No, they're gonna put what they, where they wanna go and what they wanna do.
Doesn't matter what.
And then the zoning official says yes or no.
So that's what was confused, okay.
Yeah, no,
But we got in the I just wanna be very clear, what we got, what we received in the packet, what we received in the packet was this. And then there was an attachment and something that said, it was all about what we weren't
All
gonna
our
approve or whatever the case may be.
All the
That-
forms that are
that's
gonna be
what it said.
included as part of this new ordinance is all we're worried about. I don't do zoning.
Right.
John's the zoning official, but it's separate from his uniform construction.
Zoning is not included on the application except for the applicant to fill out where he wants to go.
That's it. That's just a
Period.
blank
So-
application.
This week it could be, it could allow, I don't know, public latrines, and next week it doesn't allow public latrines, and in 3 weeks it could allow them again, and it's not in the package.
That is why we did that. You
He's
don't want,
applying to build a public latrine, that's it.
Okay,
So the
Again,
form will be
that's what
flexible enough to, if the ordinance changes in any way, shape or form in the future, no matter what happens as far as zoning changes go,
This form
your
can be
blank
fixed for a
form-
year.
our form is a blank. You
Your
do what
blank
you want in
form
land
will
use.
be-
It's the applicant's.
It's
just an enforcement mechanism, it's not
Right.
substantive.
So let me say.
right, but do you understand the point of it is, when we were sent this package, there was all of this information in this packet and it was attached to this. It was, and I'm just telling you, it was, I called Susan, I talked to Jeremy, it was absolutely attached to this, so that's the confusing part. In fact, it was this, and then it was something else that was talks to this,
It was
and
in
it's
the-
right
it
for
was-
zoning
it
and the
was
whole
in the
thing, and I'm like, well,
electronic
where are we going with this?
Oh, my 3 pages, let's stop there.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah, everything
all right.
and one are just forms.
Okay, all right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
so-
Blank-
That's why I was asking the question.
Like,
I understand now.
Okay.
So this
So we're on the
page
same page.
is not connected to what.
Not at all.
Not
Exactly.
at all.
That's where we were,
Thank you,
that's, yes,
thank you
thank you,
for
because that's
that.
where I was coming from, it's
No.
like, well, wait a minute, that's not what
Well,
it
you
said.
cleared it up, because
Okay.
one has nothing to do with the other.
Okay,
Yeah,
very
what
good.
Ken,
So
what Ken is
Okay.
looking for is the approval of a process where people know they have to fill out these forms. And tell them what they wanna do, and then it goes the rounds over here with John, and Ken and whoever else. And so we know when they're moving.
Are these the forms?
Let me see.
Yes,
Because this is what's attached to the beginning of the form.
yeah, that's basically the layout of how everything has to work.
But what I'm addressing is the language in the forms. It actually has some language in the form that, where is it? I highlighted it, so I brought my copy.
I swear I don't remember.
Yeah, so for instance, it said, obtain approved zoning permit, zoning officer will review your submitted application and check to see if the use is permitted in the zone, you must do this even if you're taking over an existing business and maintaining its same type of business, no exceptions. And it says, note, if your business model is approved, you cannot change or add to the business type without additional approval from the zoning officer. Example, you apply for successfully open a hair salon, then you want to add clothing sales, you must reapply to the zoning official. So my point of it is, I mean, that's what
But that's not about zoning, that's
but
about
but it's
process.
Well, it
with
is.
the application though, that's my point, it's
Right.
with the application.
And the reason for that is sometimes if they wanna expand their store. And they're not allowed to do what they wanna expand to in that space. If they're a B, now they wanna add stuff to sell and become an M, they can't.
It's two different things, let me just finish, please, because I want to finish this point, I'm sorry, but the point of it is. My understanding is that it's two different things I'm hearing here. This is the actual application, correct?
Yeah, like 8 pages.
Okay, so if this is the application. Then why is this associated with the application? That's my confusion.
Because the person who's applying has to fill out what they're applying for. And then whatever the zoning is, the day they apply, whatever it is, our zoning officer has to check off on it.
But it already denotes what you can't do, and my point of it is, but it does, it says it right here.
The example
It's
is
it's-
misleading,
But
that's what
but-
Tony is saying, I'm
That's
sorry to
my
interrupt.
point, that's the
The
point.
example on
You
the
can remove
form,
the example, I mean, but
I think that would solve a lot of the
the
confusion.
example is there to tell them that you just can't decide, I wanna do something else
Right.
that may be outside what you're approved for.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'd have to go back to the planning board and say, hey, I wanna do this, and they'll say yes or no, then they get granted.
But doesn't that happen with the zoning officer anyway? Doesn't the zoning officer actually, isn't the zoning officer, if they go to XYZ and they wanna do this business, the zoning officer through the application? I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yes,
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
the
why he
zoning
has an
officer denoting
application.
that? Okay,
yes,
so then why is that necessary in here?
because, for example, currently in one of our zones, you can do arts and crafts, but you can't teach it, right? So somebody opens up a candle studio where he's making candles for sale, and he gets approval, and now he starts teaching it, and doesn't go back and say, now I'm gonna have classes here. So, it just, if you're gonna add anything,
I think we should just take that out. I think we
Yeah.
should just take it out until we're finished with zoning thing, because I think this is gonna be confusing.
See, now there's a piece of the new ordinance too that says by resolution, we could change appendix A as needed, so it's not that it's a critical piece, it's. You know, that's why Mr. Cassini put it in, I said, we need to have something where we're not to go back and do an ordinance every time. You know, so by resolution, we can do whatever you want, change them, take that out, we can change whatever.
Can I just say something? Ken brought this, Ken's been working on this I know for at least a year, I know before I even became liaison to Ken's department, he was working on this prior to last year, so it's been over a year at least since you've been working on this, and I really I think I brought it even to everybody's attention, and he's been working on this, so I really appreciate the fact that it's come and all the work that you put in, first of all, so thank you for that. Number two, I do see Tony's point, and when I first saw the form, knowing that the ad hoc committee is literally also discussing, not even introducing the ordinance, but just discussing the idea of changing, actually what we did was we took the ordinance that, the planning board had originally presented and really just tweaked it, because they had a lot of stuff already done well. We took that, but what we're concerned about, and this is why I was tempted to say, hey, maybe we should just table this. What we need this to come maybe 2 weeks behind, follow right behind the review of the ordinance. You've been working on this for so long, and I hate for us to mess it up by just 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think you guys would mess anything up, nor does it matter when it's passed, we just need an enforcement arm. To back up what you decide.
I agree with you, Ken, I am not disagreeing with you at all, believe me, I actually like this, I think this is actually really good. And I think it would be helpful, I just think that this is not working for me with this. So if we're looking at this, I'm saying let's full speed ahead.
then let's introduce it without it, because Ken put it right to me a week and a half ago. If I don't get this ordinance through, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I found one inspection, I found 9 new businesses in a building, right? That's unacceptable.
And I
Unacceptable.
don't care that,
I
I didn't have a
agree
comment
with
to
you.
make, because it's a matter of time when, as you said. If we were to have somebody do something that required fire, heat, open flames, and they were just going to a business that normally has been clothing, and somebody's upstairs. And they start a fire and people die or are injured, you know, who looks really bad right now, this council.
The Ken,
Like, it looks
I
like
was
we
gonna,
can't make a decision. And that we're completely held down on, you know, get rid of this piece, we get rid of it, if this gentleman, what he needs to keep our borough residents safe and business owners safe. They might be in a complex.
Like, so we just wanted to do, like Susan wanted to do, like, guide people through this process as
Exactly.
easy as possible.
Yeah.
I remember
We're not trying to
bringing this up.
discourage
I
anybody.
remember.
But I can't, as a construction officer, we cannot have people just showing up, and now we're back to, I'm sending Dave out there with the pretty red stickers telling them, you're closed until you go to zoning, because you're not allowed to be here, and then they're like, we're doing it anyway.
Susan, wasn't there like a checklist at one point for like opening new business? I'm thinking that there was some sort of like.
well, we were kind of hoping that this was gonna work with that too.
Yeah, those forms are the kicker for the
That's-
checklist,
that's
to make
what-
for
that's-
relief,
That's
like,
thanks for
this
like,
is in, this is in, this is
Yeah.
in.
So what can we remove from this to give?
I
well,
think.
hold on a minute, I have a couple more questions. Has the FCP seen this yet?
No,
Okay, so that's another reason why, like I said, I'm talking a couple weeks here. I wanna make sure that they've weighed in on this.
That's a good point.
So
Because
I
we've
don't
been
wanna,
working on this for so long, and I wanna make sure that we get some feedback from the landlords and the businesses.
okay, now here's the problem. Most of the landlords and businesses don't wanna be involved in this. They wanna rent their space and be done with the process.
Ken, getting their feedback and taking their comments and incorporating them in are two different things.
No, I get it.
So, you know, but I respect them as property owners and business owners in town, that they at least deserve that back and forth, just like you do when like the planning board proposes something and it comes up to council, or the council proposes something, it goes back down to planning board. I think that the FCP deserves that back and forth. And the other thing is this, again, we literally just distributed the draft, we didn't even introduce it as a ordinance tonight. The tweaks to the zoning that we had talked about, specifically a lot in the DB and DB2. And I don't know if you were copied on that, or if you had a chance to look at that to see if it maybe inspires, like I said, that example is gonna be completely null and void. But I wanna say one more thing, piggyback on Adrian. As you were talking to begin with, the first thing I thought of is, you got the business on the first floor, and what is that rated floor ceiling assembly between the business down below and the residential down above. That's your job, that's your biggest part of your job, I think. And it's really important, and this will cover that. So I'm, as much as I'm concerned about, you know, but we've worked this hard, I shouldn't say we, you have worked this hard up to this point. It's taken almost a year to get here. And I really wanna see it done right, but I wanna make sure we do one back and forth with FCP, and I wanna make sure you have that opportunity to look at the tweaks in the zoning, so that if there's anything related to because I think, honestly, I think the attachment is actually more important than the ordinance in some ways. So I'm really hesitant to pull the attachment out just to push it through today, because I wanna make sure that it works for you.
I think if you look, I'm sorry.
I think that if we're saying we'll table this for 2 weeks, and
Oh, it's a month. We don't need it for a month.
That's right, we're gonna table it for a month, then on that month, FCP needs to be aligned, I need the heavens and everybody to align, and we need to start leading from the front, we're all elected, we need to make decisions for the safety of people.
And I think the first page that Tony has there is a line in there that says, an FCP worksheet to be provided by them, to be filled out by all the new businesses, and once we get that, we forward that out to FCP too, as a registration for that. I mean,
Great.
we included that.
So you can have that information that they need, that they've been needing for a long time, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's why we included it there.
Yeah,
Can I
that's
just
great.
hop in here real quick? My question's for Mr. Corsini.
Sure.
So the issue sounds to be the example, the language of the example. If that is changed to be something more
Stricken,
or strike it or something simplistic. I mean, then we can move on with letting our fire marshal get this process going.
This is really, this is really a UCC-DCA process. It's really like trying to get people to let us know for fire safety and zoning issues.
we'll see, it's not,
Nobody's debating that.
Yeah, no, I know you're not.
Really not.
that's the problem, it's not a UCC process because they're not requesting a CCO. They can just move into town. The towns to legislate their own local smaller stuff that don't require a UCC permit. And a lot of these don't require a UCC permit, but we're making it a part now is you're gonna make it the NTC or whatever, the 3 letters are that Mr. Corsini came up with.
Yeah, I found that resource online, so.
Yeah, but
As
now
I
you're
was researching the ordinance, I found that
New
like.
tenant certificate.
Yeah, tenant certificate. So now you're still getting our 4 inspectors coming in doing a safety inspection, and we found electrical problems and plumbing problems. We told people, you can't get this fixed.
And that's really what this is about.
And that's
It's got
all
nothing to
it's
do
about,
with zoning,
safety.
it's really
I
about.
know, but this reads
Yeah. No, I
on
get it.
board, all the way on board. I love it. I think it's a great thing to do. I do it today, but this needs to come out. That's the only thing. So going back to Jeremy.
What if we
the thing-
introduce
hold on,
the
hold on.
ordinance and then
So-
maybe
so
changes in the
Going back
next
to Jeremy, well, hold on.
couple weeks?
Going back to Jeremy's question, just want
Yeah.
to do this, because I don't think he's answered Jeremy's question. So can you just answer?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, okay. That's all, that's all.
So if there's something
So-
we have a concern about, we can adjust it in the next couple
So
of
when you
weeks
just, yeah,
and still introduce it tonight.
so nowadays the code companies let you put in the applications right into the code software. So I can't have the application change without your review if it's in the ordinance, right? So if you introduce the ordinance tonight, it will be finally approved a month from tonight, right? We meet again in a month, Mayor, Council President, yes. So then at that point, you just do a resolution or whatever you come up with to edit the, that's what I'd recommend.
To take this out,
Yeah.
we do.
You can,
take this out.
every meeting if you want by resolution.
Okay, so the
Send it,
point-
but you could do it.
Okay, so the point of it is if we wanted to introduce this, we can introduce this, and I just wanna make sure we're all hearing the same thing. We can introduce this, and then when we get to a month from now, we can. And provide that that FCP has seen it and all that, then anything we wanna modify, we would modify at that point.
You can, without any prejudice to the business owner.
Okay.
That's what I think.
For the, just to be clear, for the form, we can't modify the underlying ordinance without reintroduction.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
But the ordinance is anodyne.
We're full with the
you're-
ordinance, nobody has a problem with the
It's
ordinance.
just a vehicle mechanism
It's
to
the
get
form,
the
it's the
form online and use it.
Can I make a motion to introduce?
I'll
We done
second.
here? I'll second.
With the you wanna?
Well,
eliminate
no,
paragraph
but
two?
hold on, because he's saying that we don't eliminate it now, we just I'm sorry?
You're right, Tony, you're right.
Yeah, we don't eliminate it now, we introduce it, and then when we go to, in a month from now, we'll do this by a.
Resolution, they'll go file and then
So
on
we'll
your,
take this out before the next thing.
your regular agenda
No,
session, you'll have a
actually,
resolution, right?
Actually, like this month.
Yeah, whatever it is, and then
The
the
11th.
code company uploads in everything, loads in the
Yeah,
new section
yeah.
of the ordinance. Instead of loading in the first version of the application, they will load it in the second version.
Okay.
We pass contemporary.
Okay,
It's very easy to do.
alright, there's a.
So that's-
So you can get what you want.
Yeah, we-
Look like we're
not- Harley,
that's all.
roll to the call.
Councilman Harris.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes,
Council Vice President Long.
Yes.
And Council President Farley.
Yes.
Public hearing scheduled for August 11th.
Mayor, can I have one thing?
Sure.
We don't see any changes coming through for anything from the planning board that they did on the last zoning or any of this until it's finally approved. And that's what caused chaos the last time in the computer system, because people were calling saying, hey, I'm in the DB. No, you're not, you're in the DB too. No, I'm in the D, and they go back and forth with Maureen, and then we found out somebody changed something and never told us in the municipal building, and we're acting on old information. So we don't see, I have no idea you were even working on any of this, or I would have told the mayor, hey, let's pull this back and make this a lot easier and I'll.
It's an ad hoc.
That's why I have that question.
Right, so nobody knew what was going on, you know, and I know John is zoning now in the construction.
Well, I spoke to
right?
council, I forgot to in my report.
But we actually
You
did
need to tell
discuss
us,
this in a
council.
council meeting.
Yeah.
We did discuss this in a council meeting.
Right, but John's not here online, you know, so we don't know what's going on. I mean, and if, you know, something new's passed by the planning board, and all of a sudden that's law, and we don't know it's law, it's kind of difficult. Now, everybody next door, we look like idiots when people are coming in.
So how do you
Plan-
suggest that happen? How do
Planning
you?
board can only recommend zoning to the
Yeah.
council, it's the council that makes the
One-
law.
Well, whoever does what, I mean, it's changed a couple times in the last several months, and it's like, we don't know what's going on.
So how is it,
I'm sorry.
so the question is, what is the most effective way to get that communicated to you guys that there's changes that have happened?
Carla should be sending to every department head all the resolutions and ordinances that have been passed at any meeting,
Which I did.
which she does. So
Yeah.
And if
you
you're
need to
gonna,
open your.
if you're gonna something draft with it, send it to at least the construction official or zoning, which is the same guy now. You know, so he knows, he may wanna have some input, you know, he may wanna say, hey, this is a problem on this end, and you need to think about this. You know,
Ken, was that example that you used of DB and DB2 being changed or not changed, was that like an actual thing that happened or?
no, I think that was something that Maureen dealt with, where somebody was arguing with her.
That was like
Months ago.
last year.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was quite a while ago, but it was, no, you're not, yes, you are, no, you're not, and it was back and forth, you know, it was.
I was gonna say, I don't recall moving.
And then she had to call SDL because, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then SDL had it all messed up on top of that, you know, because they were confused on what was, you know, we're just trying to make it slim, you know, slimline easier for everybody, including ourselves.
Can somebody please forward Ken and John
Well, she
and
does.
Dave the or that we are discussing tonight.
Oh, the zoning, I sent it to Maureen the other day.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'll yell at her.
Oh, yeah, they wanted you.
Done?
You're done.
Right, thank
Thank
you.
you. I just, this is, well done. And I did, tell you this in my report, but I never told you. When we hired John Tillotson as construction official in 2023, was part of his hiring resolution that he was supposed to become our zoning officer and get the certification, which he never did. He has since now agreed to take that position and, I'm talking with the personnel committee about increase above what we offered him a couple of years ago. He is retroactive or zoning officer to this past Monday, the 14th. So he was already hired, so it's all good. So, and he was here Saturday, testing all the zoning up. So, okay. We have a public hearing tonight, ordinance 2025-19, ordinance on the borough of Flemington authorizing the lease of block 39 lot 11.101 on the Flemington Borough tax map and block 29 lot 2.01 on the Raritan Township tax map known as the Flemington Raritan Baseball Complex, Flemington Raritan Baseball Inc. for a period of 25 years with a 25-year option for nominal consideration. Public hearing, can I have a motion to go into the to open up the public hearing?
Sarah move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The hearing is now open to the public. Anybody online who wishes to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. Anybody in the audience, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, all. Michael Coons, Raritan Township, 36 Honeyman Drive, president of Flemington Raritan Baseball. We had a lot of players and coaches who wanted to be here, but as you may know, spring season's over, summer season's going, and they're all at games in either South Orange, Berkeley Heights, or Ridge tonight. So hopefully they're doing well, but you know, as you all know, the facility's been there since 1953. Each year we have over 450 girls and boys who come through there from ages 5 to 16 and play at the Flemington baseball fields. And we just want to make sure that as the town grows, that there's an opportunity for the children to grow as well. And this lease will allow us to invest more money back into the fields. As you know, we take care of the property, and it's quite costly with everything going up. But we're willing to invest all that money back in as we are not for profit. And we'll continue to do that for the years to come so that we can grow with the community. And that's really what it's about. So I speak on behalf of the board of Flemington Raritan Baseball, and we appreciate you looking at it, appreciate you bringing it to this point, and look forward to many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Is there anybody, I got anybody online? Nobody else from the public? I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Sarah move.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-19?
Sarah move.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Long.
Yes.
And Council President Parker.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Coons. You're stuck with us now for 50 years.
We're grateful for all you do, and we appreciate y'all. We hope to see you at the field soon. So,
How's your fundraising for the light that broke?
well, we made about 25,000.
How much is it? One
It
light?
was about 50,000. Well, it's it serves 2 fields. It was 2 poles. And then it serves two lights for 2 fields. So it was about $50,000.
And that came down in which storm?
It came down in a windstorm, I would say in maybe February.
Yeah. So you're halfway there on it.
And our insurance does not cover wind.
Oh.
Who would have thought? Of course, I told them we'd welcome a $10,000 donation that we could write off for them. Since we pay them $10,000 a year, they didn't want to do that. So.
Well, my Maltese absolutely loves his walk up there when the game's going, so thank you.
So you're halfway there on the fundraising for.
We're halfway there. You know, I would say with the Dark Skies program and the lights and things, I know that's in the lease and I know you speak of sometimes there's recreational funds for fields, et cetera. We'd like to continue to be, open to talking about that as well, if there are opportunities, where, we could pay some and maybe get some, from other grants.
And
and
the
things like that.
county's been doing these, these grants
Mhm.
that are used for recreation. We have a lot of work to do with Tucker Morgan and get that cleaned up. But we'll definitely keep it, I think, keep it in mind.
We just hosted the 11U state tournament for Cal Ripken.
How's that what's going on?
South
Wow.
Plainfield won. Our team actually won the districts for the first time since 2018. Our 11-year-old, so we were proud of them there, and they got to the semifinals, but then they lost. So, yeah, so it's been exciting, and we put a lot of money into the fields, the nets, the grounds, et cetera, and we'll continue to do that now, and we'll look at some other opportunities as we go.
So it's wonderful.
We try. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all.
Much.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for coming through.
Take care. Good night.
All right, on the regular agenda, resolution 2025-114, resolution recognizing the efforts of Mark Kane in arranging the fireworks display in the borough of Flemington. I'm gonna ask Councilman Arias from the recreation committee to read the resolution. Yeah. The first one after it was the first. 25-114. Right, okay. Mark, look fine. Okay, Sean.
So resolution number 2025-114, resolution recognizing the efforts of Mark Kane in arranging the fireworks display in the borough of Flemington. Whereas fireworks displays in the borough of Flemington brings light to residents, business owners, officials and visitors. And whereas the details involved in successfully arranging the fireworks display are extensive and technical. And whereas borough resident Mark Kane has repeatedly done an impressive job of making all the arrangements necessary to ensure safe and uplifting fireworks displays over the years, and now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of Flemington acknowledge the tremendous job Mark Kane has done in arranging the borough's fireworks displays. Be it further resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of Flemington honor and commend Mr. Kane for his efforts on behalf of the borough.
And again, I'm sorry I didn't put in there that you, this year you raised more money than ever, because the cost had gone up so much. And it's just so appreciated, Mark. Can I have a motion, please? Is there a second?
Long second.
Who was first? I'm sorry.
Alright.
Sorry. Water, yeah. Roll call, please.
Councilman Harris,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eaglehart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasol. Yes. Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Vice President Ross.
Yes.
And Council President Porter.
Yes, Kathy.
So even though it's all over in one night, the work you do, because I know you start so early, is so appreciated. It's so appreciated.
I've been, I think this is my 18th
Oh my God.
year, 18th year doing it, so a lot of people don't realize what's done behind the scenes, they just show up and it goes off, but the planning and making a call, are we gonna have it, if we're not having it, are we gonna push it for rain date? The thing that once they're loaded in the tubes, there's more risk taking them out.
Yeah.
For that first static electricity of setting them off, so once they're in the tubes, you gotta go, or. If you wanna push it to the 5th, you have to have fire 24/7, police, and somebody from the fireworks company, so by the time you look at that cost. It's not effective, but the school's been great, they've done everything, done over backwards for me, giving me power to. Run stuff, we've had the DJ band, the DJ, who, I don't know if you guys have been there entertaining all the kids like that, so. The parents show up at 6. He keeps those kids going until 9 o'clock. And the trivia that he teaches the kids, it's not just playing music, it's who was the first president, and he does a lot, and
It should be noted also, that Mark's also part of the OEM.
yes.
So in addition to planning this whole thing, he's also running around with his orange vest and acting as OEM and
Wow.
doing all the safety stuff too.
Well,
And I have to add a little comment. So my house and Mark's house are right around the corner from each other. And the way our families first met was when our two firstborns were literally 2 years old, and my husband is pulling mine in a little cart, you know, little wagon, little red wagon, and Beth is pulling Amelia in a little red wagon. And where were we on our way to? But the fireworks. So we've known each other that long and really appreciate everything you do.
I enjoy it. Hopefully I'll continue to keep doing it. It's just now, like I said, the show used to, when I first started doing it, it was 10,000 and then it shot to
Mhm.
18, and then from last year to this year went up 22, so it went up $4,000 for the tariffs. So it's interesting the way it goes. We've changed the last 3 years. We did full electronic. So the guy sits there at the board, hits it, so he's not going around with flares. In the past, when he was running around with flares, and there's a lot of risk of lighting that with a flare if something blows up or doesn't go right. So being electronic, it's safer. And Ken, I know he had left that, like, once the last firework is in the sky, the fields are empty. It's normally Ken and myself are the last two people there. Get home around 11:30, that the stuff's in the truck. And last year when the stuff was in the truck, the guy was halfway home and his truck caught fire.
Oh, my.
So it's, I guess the launch crate was smoldering and he was driving down 78 and his truck, he pulled to the side of the road and luckily nobody got hurt. But it's just a lot of stuff that spraying the fields down, spraying the launch crates down, making sure the safety tapes up. There's a lot of coordination of everything, and it's just comes now second nature because I've been doing it so long, but it's just
There's two things, Mark, you and I have talked about this in the last 2 years.
yeah.
You need to write everything down. And I've said this to you over the last 3 years, you need to write everything down, because I can only watch from the distance and I know none of us know everything that's in your head. And number two, and I'm going to say this publicly, I know the mayor of Raritan happens to also be a business owner here in the borough. The borough pays for this by hardworking Mark, for the most part, the majority of the work is Mark going around asking for businesses to help from both Raritan and Flemington Borough. We could really use the elected officials' help in Raritan Township to solicit some of their larger businesses to help out. Specifically, perhaps some of the companies that sell autos.
Good luck.
Even if they just match our contribution, which is $5,000, it would be nice,
this-
because
yeah.
Raritan doesn't
Can I-
put anything in.
I agree.
Have we ever
Right, they
solicited
didn't match.
donations from the public? Or is that something that,
Uh,
or is there a portal to do that?
in the past, we were originally fireworks were funded through Parks and Recreation Group, so it was funded from money from Raritan
Yeah.
and Flemington, and then that got disbanded, and then we were using some of the monies that were in surplus. So this year, and actually last year and this year, I went around and asked, I did not wanna hit the local businesses on Main Street
Yeah.
because people ask them enough, so I'm like, outside the box, the larger companies, and
And some of our professionals, some of our.
some professionals said yes, some of
Most
them
people are
said,
Our
engineers
engineers,
donated
yep.
money.
some said no, but it.
Yeah, I gave Mark a couple of the names of our engineers. I'm really looking though to Raritan Township's elected officials to simply help us connect with some of the larger businesses in their town, because frankly, just as many people, if not more, enjoy from the township as the borough. And we really could use that help to make those connections,
Or
and
just
they're
what
the ones
Marcia
that
said.
have that.
And just what Marcia said, at least match what we do.
Mhm.
I agree with that. We, at the very least, that, yes, but at the very least, match what we do.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is I think $5,000 in our budget.
This year, we lucked out that I did not have to use the boroughs.
Right,
And
Contract.
But we also pay all the police and
right,
Yeah.
DPW at the time,
But that's,
right.
Yeah.
as well.
And when do you normally start soliciting? What's your go day?
typically, I start like February-ish, and I mean, I already. Before people leave, like hold the date for me so that
Okay.
they're not gonna get pulled off to do something else, but it's just. Once we get that, there's certain things for air permits, the school, and now. The people I work with at the school, it's like, if you told me, hey, I wanna do fireworks, I pick up the phone and it's instant. Before, it could take almost a month.
Thank
And
you.
now it's like a day, because they're very, very nice to work with, and then. Carla with the insurances, because it's their steps I have to go, I can't go here unless I have this, I can't do that unless I have this, so it's.
Which is why I need you to write it all down.
I also think that this needs to be shared with our public, and I think those of us who have the ability to share our public media. Our social media, we should be sharing this because it is quite an endeavor. And I will remember your start date for fundraising next year.
I don't
Happy
mind doing
birthday
it,
to
and
me.
it is, it's all fun when the when the last one goes up in the air and you hear the people. Cheering and clapping, and you hear them walking by, wow, that was the best show, and we try to outdo. Each show, and but it's the people you have with you, and there's a lot of volunteers like that you. From the police to the explorers to the Raritan CERT team, Flemington CERT teams, the
Fire departments.
fire department, rescue, and it's just when you put all those pieces together, it's. It's pretty interesting. The county with the new command vehicle. So we actually had to lower the camera because of when the storm came.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot when you put all these little pieces together.
I know, I'm so stressed.
And I just wanna say that, I know you're elsewhere, but there were literally 300 people on Stangle Road and Central Avenue. I mean, we have like our own kind of party. But it is, I've never seen, every parking spot was taken. And there's just layers and layers and layers of people on the lawns, enjoying having the party. You know, it's really fun, it's all families. Everybody can see perfectly, you just have a perfect view. But I think it's bigger than just the event, it's a bigger event, and we should certainly try to support you.
Yep.
Mark, just want to say thank you so much. You are truly a treasure to the borough.
I enjoy doing it, and I will continue to
Thank
do it
you.
unless somebody kicks me out, but
No.
but I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Trent. And actually, as these guys said, rolling the tarp
Oh,
off.
my goodness.
Anyway, so we put a tarp over somebody's pool so it doesn't go in the cover.
Yep.
And then all the rain,
Yeah.
you put a pole, 400 gallon.
Yes.
To get the.
So let me just say, Trent and Mark were there, and then I came, and they did, it was my last bit of pole
Pole.
that got you just needed these,
Yep.
these muscles, and that's a no.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks.
see you
Have a great
tomorrow.
evening.
Yep.
Resolution 2025-115, resolution approving the contract with Window World for the window improvement project at Borough Hall, NTE for $17,777. May I have a motion, please?
Tony.
Move.
Yep, Tony seconds.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Where are we? Councilman Arias?
Yes.
Councilman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yes.
Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
And Council President Work.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-116, resolution authorizing the creation of the 2025 Hunter County Municipal Parks and Recreation Grant. It's coming in from the county for up to another. No.
I was gonna say, what is this doing here on this?
It allows us to apply for it when the time comes.
Yeah, but like, I just read it and like, it says like, we're creating the grant, like,
Well, we're writing the grant.
Right.
Yeah.
We're creating a grant, we are.
interesting, okay.
Can I have a motion,
Play on
please?
word.
Sarah move.
For a second,
One second.
any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Arias?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
Council
President Parker.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-117, resolution authorizing increasing the fifth threshold. May I have a motion, please?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt second.
Any discussion?
Just a question, on my copy, this is.
Yeah, there's two. What did
Oh,
you?
there's two of them?
No, I forgot to take it off the second
Oh,
page.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was-
I noticed that when I got here. I was like, oh crap.
Does anyone have a question?
So then
No,
that gets 52,000.
Like talking to your wife, like she finished her sentence, I don't
Yeah.
even know.
Right, we got it.
Okay, all right,
Increase by 79.
yeah, it's understandable, well, we can do that
Okay.
with your approval.
Yep.
Roll call please.
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasari,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
So the second one.
Yeah, you don't have to do that one.
Right.
That's the same
We have to
thing.
do it once.
Yeah.
Resolution 2025-118, resolution approving Donald Allard's accumulated leave pay. Have a motion please,
Long move.
for a second,
Second.
any discussion?
I just have a question, just like 212 hours over what period of time is that?
For vacation.
Yeah, for vacation, 212 hours over what period of time, that's like several years, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much vacation?
Bill's on there.
Yeah,
Oh, Bill's on. Bill, can you come in?
Bill, I'm gonna make you a panelist. Okay,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so they get 5 weeks vacation?
we'll carry over.
12-hour days.
Or it's done by the hour, so they get how much time per hour, is it by hour or by day?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's a couple years. That's what he accumulated for the past couple years, plus it's prorated for this year.
Oh, okay. That he didn't use?
Correct.
still. Was prorated for this year, so help me to understand, so.
So he probably gets like 3 weeks a year, I would assume, or I would assume it's 3 weeks based on how long he's been there. So that's I guess what, 5 weeks about of vacation.
Right, but my question is, when you say prorated for this year,
Prorated would mean if he gets 3 weeks, he would only get, a week and a half for this year.
because
Because
he's accumulated a week and a half, is that what you're saying?
Correct, because he's leaving through half the year.
Okay, so he accumulated that, okay, a week and a half this year. Okay, thanks.
Yes, have any questions?
I understood your confusion too. I thought when it meant prorated, it was forward, not
Yeah.
back. I understood why you were confused.
Okay, roll call please.
Councilman Aries,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong,
Yes.
Council President Parker.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-118, resolution appointing the municipal housing liaison. The motion please,
I will move.
for a second,
Parkinson.
any discussion?
I did, I have one. Do you know what they do?
Yeah,
Cause on it.
She's the,
I have no idea.
if somebody calls you and
I have
says,
no idea.
I'm low mod, where can I go? Then you send them over to Spice Factory,
Okay, good, I'll do that, okay.
because Spice Factory, actually, they put it out on a bid. Last year, they put out notices saying they were taking applications.
Carla, I think the unofficial answer is call me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because the MHL is largely, you're tasked with disseminating information and
Exactly.
directing people to talk to the right people.
Okay,
And technically, you're responsible for doing some of the monitoring, but the way that works is it's gonna be the planner. or the
Okay.
administrator that does
Okay.
the next step.
And that company.
that's why I like
Just
it.
let the record show that planner, Janice answered that question.
So, okay,
Okay,
roll call please.
Councilman Aries,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
And Council President Parker.
Resolution 2025-120, resolution appointing Kevin McCormick as the deputy construction official. I'm sorry, I thought we had done this already, so when John Tillotson went on vacation, we had nobody covering this, so it's really important to do this.
Can I ask a question? We did include this in the budget, because there was like.
Yes,
I was,
Yeah.
thank you, because, thank you, because because I, when this happened last week or 2 weeks ago, I like
But we never
unconditionally
actually
approved everybody.
appointed him, that was the problem.
Right, and I was like, I
Right.
know we approved this,
But we
and
never
everybody's like,
actually
no, no,
appointed him.
no.
So
So this
Thank
is
you.
the appoint.
this is the point, can I have a motion?
Liberal move.
Second,
Oh, second.
any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Aries.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
Council President Parker.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-121, resolution authorizing the payments for utilized education data logic, SDL in the amount of 26,900, and Edmonds GovTech in the amount of $21,533.01. Have a motion, please?
Liberal move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Aries.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
Council President Parker.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-122, resolution of the Council of the Borough of Flemington endorsing the housing element and fair share plan adopted by the Flemington Planning Board. May I have a motion, please?
Liberal move.
Is there a second?
Pissarro second.
Any discussion? Beth, do you want to say
I was
anything
gonna say
about
that.
this?
This is a resolution that's required for the governing body to adopt, and it endorses the housing plan that the planning board had adopted in June of this year. The housing element responds to the borough's affordable housing obligation. In most towns, it means a lot of new zoning new zoning districts, things like that. In Flemington, it really has, from a zoning perspective, no consequence, because we were able to satisfy the obligation by essentially reshuffling some of your existing affordable housing credits. And so this resolution recognizes the planning board's adoption and formally authorizes a task that's actually already occurred, which is submission of the housing plan to the state program that is responsible for reviewing and approving housing plans. That was, we were required to submit the plan by June 30th. And so that's why this resolution is coming to all of you in July.
Beth showed the planning board presentation that the borough has been in compliance for decades. And I asked her at the planning board if the borough was the only municipality in the county that did not have a COA requirement. And Beth's response was, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm gonna let you answer.
I don't know officially the answer, but I can't imagine another town in the county being better situated, quite honestly. Because it's very unusual for a municipality to have credits sort of banked to be able to use.
Surplus units.
Surplus units to be able to use for your new affordable housing obligation. I don't know for certain, but I doubt any other town is as well situated here.
And Beth, that has a lot to do with you and your firm in your leadership and guidance of the planning board over a decade. And I wanna thank you for that. It goes back even longer than a decade. And you know, and I know Carl was also involved there, but then the last 10 years, your guidance on that, especially through all the lawsuits, is really significant, and I wanna thank you for that.
But I also want to put it on the record that my predecessor adamantly insisted that we needed more and more high density housing in this town because we had COA requirements. We have never had a COA requirement in this town. We have always enjoyed surplus. And it goes back to the 80s. So it's a fallacy. We are very well situated with housing in this town. And I can't emphasize that enough.
You mean COA house?
We need the law.
Yeah, it's the low and moderate income housing, yeah.
We
You
need
said
a
housing, I
requirement.
said
No, we're very well
COA
situated
housing, yes.
with that housing situation,
COA house.
unlike a lot of municipalities. And Beth is special master for most of the state of New Jersey, I think.
Thank God it's not most, but it's dozens of municipalities.
I think it's most of them. It feels like most.
Does.
So she knows, she's an authority on how well situated Flemington Borough is. But she sees it, and she's in court all the day all the time for everybody else. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Oh, wait, they already did. Councilman
Oh,
Arias?
sorry, roll call.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
And Council President Parker.
Yeah.
Resolution 2025-123, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the NJDOT fiscal year 26 road improvement project. Can I have a motion, please? Is there a second?
No,
Any discussion?
what's this one for?
This is the annual request for money for some road, so yes, so we got it. Those are for Line Street. So we're just,
Municipal aid grant or?
yeah,
Okay.
oh, if you don't apply, you don't get anything. When we apply, we get a tag. Roll call please.
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vaughn.
Yes.
and Council President Parker.
Yes.
Okay, it is 8:41 for my phone. We have no clock at work because we got rid of low tech.
I told my guy.
For high tech, I'm gonna call like a 5-minute break or we continue because. All right, we're back in meeting. We've got under work session, we've got topic on zoning. Zoning ad hoc committee of Councilman Levitt and Councilwoman Engelhardt and Council President Parker. Have worked on this and submitted a draft ordinance for discussion. My understanding is that the council president is looking for input tonight and then to the planning board over the next whatever, and also to the Historic Preservation Commission. So Beth, you gonna walk everybody through it, or somebody from the council want to say anything?
Well, Beth is gonna kind of give the.
So the ordinance that's been shared with the council is, an ordinance that amends the borough's non-residential districts to do some things which are more consequential and other things that are less consequential. It is, it in general intends to add some, in terms of less consequential items, it adds new accessory uses to your non-residential districts to allow things like pop-ups, and this language should look familiar because it was included in the draft ordinance from 2024 and has been incorporated into some of the borough's non-residential districts already. It also includes some additional language about for accessory uses, anything that is customary and incidental. And it also includes some amendments to definitions. Some of these are as simple as clarifying that theaters do not include adult uses. Others are more significant in terms of how it's defining permitted use. And so while it includes a number of these changes that I've just described, perhaps the bulk of the pages, the consequential information is really focused on, I would say, the DB and the DB2 districts, and then to a lesser extent, the TC and the VAS district. So for the DB and the DB2 districts, I think there are a few things that this ordinance does that are particularly significant. First, it updates the purpose of them to, I think, correctly reflect the intent of the district as well as the location of the districts. And then it also eliminates all of the existing SIC codes. So it takes the existing tranche of permitted uses for which there are, for example, 41 of them in the DB district and similar for the DB2 district. And it eliminates all of those, which was a very specific use, such as, let's say, a general merchandise store, and then it cites the SIC code. And it eliminates that in favor of more typical and broader permitted uses, similar to what you might see in many other zone districts around the state, but also similar to what you might see in the borough's existing TC districts. And so it creates a more conventional zoning regulation in the borough and moving us away from the SIC codes, which I think were inventive and probably worked really well early on, but years later, I think have aged out and have proven to be a bit of a headache these days in terms of trying to match proposals to the very specific SIC codes. And then in addition to simply reorganizing the manner of the permitted uses, the actual permitted uses have been amended. So yes, it takes the variety of individual retail stores and combines that into, let's say, retail sales, but it also includes a variety of other permitted uses for inclusion in the districts. And these permitted uses are oriented towards permitting or accommodating what exists in the district, what exists in the downtown, and also encouraging through permission new uses which are intended to help benefit the borough and to give more activity to residents and visitors and options to property owners and business owners. So for example, in the DB1 district or the DB district, it permits uses such as retail sales, services, restaurants, art studios, breweries, some of the things that we might expect, but it also goes through and permits health and fitness facilities, higher education, learning center. It recognizes and permits the existing offices. It also permits theaters, museums, etc., upper story apartments and club facilities. The DB2 district is similarly structured with a variety of new uses that are simply replacing the existing SIC codes and incorporating additional uses that are again intended to bring more options to residents, businesses, and property owners alike. And the districts have been, they're differentiated in terms of the level of intensity being permitted, of course, and we've done that through not just the permitted uses, but also through conditional uses that have been put together with conditions intended to address impacts of these permitted uses. In addition to addressing the uses, we also have some amendments to the bulk standards that are addressed in a few of the zone districts, including the DB district. The bulk table has been revised to do what I think is a minor adjustment to the front yard setback, specifying minimum and maximum versus just minimum, and also provides clarification on the average front yard setback provision that's in one of the footnotes, footnote 1, and that's actually a change that you'll see in every district here. Additionally, we have for the DB district, it also permits. We also allow for a small increase in building height up to 40 to 45 feet. There's also a related change to the rear yard setback to allow a smaller rear yard setback, except for in the case of taller buildings. And then another consequential bulk standard change, I think you can see in the VAS district, this is on page 15, and it, for example, reduces the lot size from 65,000 square feet to 0.75, has a corresponding reduction in the minimum lot width. And we have a similar change to the front yard setback in the sense that it provides a minimum and a maximum rather than just simply a minimum. And we also have a change to the maximum building heights, and you'll find that not in the table, but actually in the footnote, where the maximum height remains the same at 40 feet, but it allows the entire building to be 3 stories rather than just simply a portion of it limited to 30%. And then also in the VAS district, I wanted to note that there are changes to the bulk standards pertaining to municipal uses. However, this is not intended to be a substantive change. I think it's really just a correction to the bulk table that was just drafted incorrectly, probably decades ago at this point. For example, the maximum impervious cover was noted as 35 feet. That's clearly not, was not intended to be correct, and so it's been corrected to be 0.82, the same as a non-municipal use. So I think that's more of a, it appears as a significant change on the table, but in reality, I would classify that as much more of a correction of a typo that was originally incorporated. So there are a number of changes to the uses, which I'm happy to go through in detail, but I didn't want to, plan a 20-minute overview. Without specific requests, so I thought I would give a general overview of what you can find in the ordinance. And take some direction from council members as to what you'd like me to spend more time and focus on, because the ordinance is 17 pages, like I said. I think a lot of that is not particularly consequential, but there are some very significant pieces of zoning changes contained within the document.
So what is the point of the setbacks, especially the rear setbacks, and making them smaller?
So for the, do you say the rear yard setback?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the rear yard setback is changed in, let's see, on page 8, you'll find that, and this is in the. So what this does is it changes the rear yard setback. It was 50 feet and it's reduced down to 20 feet, so it's a 30-foot reduction. However, it also adds a footnote which addresses some detail. So the footnote that's added, so while it's reduced down to a 20-foot rear yard setback, the footnote states that where the building height exceeds 35 feet, the setback shall not be less than 50 feet. So essentially, where you have a building that is 35 feet or greater, or portion thereof, the setback must be 50 feet, consistent with the existing zoning, that same setback. However, where the building height is less than 35 feet, you're able to move closer to the property line to a minimum of 20 feet.
Well, and again, what's the point of that?
Oh, to address deep, because we have so many deep lots. It was to address the deep lot issue all over the specific,
Well, like
Yeah,
where?
correct.
Where in the DB district are there deep lots, and there are deep lots in the residential zones?
There are significant deep lots. If you simply along Main Street, there are a variety of long and narrow lots. And the purpose is to provide some additional development intensity to property owners is by allowing for a smaller setback. But the footnote is intended to mitigate the impact that could be felt by properties to the rear.
So are we talking about like buildings like the Shaker Cafe that has a very deep lot, but it's all parking? I mean, we're talking about that there's a problem with parking. There's gonna be a problem with parking. We're gonna build a parking garage. And now we want to take away their parking and allow bigger buildings. We don't have enough parking in town.
So the setback change would simply allow for a larger building. It doesn't have an impact on their existing, on their parking requirement. And so to the extent that they're unable to unable to provide the parking, I think that's gonna be a challenge in their ability to get a site plan approval for the larger building. The board would have to consider the variance request, assuming that's.
So they would have like another floor to that building.
I mean, I think with the rear yard setback, it might allow for the building to be deeper, or perhaps a second building to the rear of the site. And I think the mayor's question is that feasible? Is that feasible? Is that, how does that relate to the parking concerns that have been cited? And I think the response is, it's incumbent upon the property owner to plan for their building in a way that doesn't require a parking relief. And to the extent they do want to require parking relief, it's important for the planning board to consider the merits of that application.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reduced setback doesn't entitle parking relief, but it certainly creates the opportunity for additional building.
But also, if you had a parking structure, that also alleviates some of that as well. The parking, I'm not saying it dismisses it, I'm saying it will alleviate it as well.
Sure, if there's additional parking,
Absolutely.
the parking supply in town, it would certainly alleviate that.
I think this was just allowing a little more flexibility in the design. Long skinny sites are really tough to design for, so this gives them a little more creativity and ways to solve their whatever the design problem they have. it's not necessarily just that there's a long skinny site, but it's a long skinny site with limited access from this end, this side of the site versus that side of the site. So it really just allowed for a little more creativity, a little more flexibility, perhaps a little of the idea of the accessory buildings, you know, like how we have a lot of houses, buildings with carriage houses in the back. So that also, you know, was kind of taken into consideration when we were doing this.
Specific to the parking and access concerns regarding the long skinny lots that we have in town. One of the other provisions that I didn't highlight and is early on in the ordinance is the connectivity and complete streets provisions, which at the bottom of page 3 requires that property owners consider cross access easements to adjacent properties. And I think that's particularly appropriate in the downtown where we have so many of these long, narrow lots that have limited access and would certainly be well served if we could connect some of the parking lots on adjacent lots. It would lead traffic off of Main Street and would also give more flexibility in designing a site if they're able to work in partnership with their neighboring lots.
Question, banquet halls, were they not allowed?
They were not a specifically permitted use.
Oh.
And so it was one of the concepts that was discussed, and so we created a definition to make sure that it could be regulated and identified.
Especially because we have a lot of larger old mansions here, instead of seeing them all carved up into offices or carved up into apartments. We will, again, just want to give some more opportunities. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
we're not having in mind in particular.
No, I'm just, that was not something I had thought about, but when I read this, I said, oh, there's like 2 properties that. At the top.
Well, we've gotten feedback from the FCP that they really needed some like larger gathering spaces, so we thought that, well, you know, we've got some beautiful mansions and who knows what they'll be in 20 years, but let's give them that chance to be one big building.
Well, and what you just said, who knows what, like,
Yes.
so
Can't predict the future.
when I looked at this
That was color,
previous,
nothing. Maple Ave Bronx. Or Starkey.
that's right, I was, like, I was just looking for like, all right, what are some things that we have, right? What are banquet halls, that's a new one, but for me, like, I mean, my broad view, and it's only one councilman brain here, but my broader view is basically that I just wanna be able to say, like, is this something that we can say is, we're gonna have some stuff coming here organically as a result and see just what happens? Or is, cause my concern has always been the restrictiveness of so much of our zone. And when people have like a cool idea, they just can't do it. And, you know, when I see pop-ups, I'm like, oh, that's something that people, I didn't know about that until somebody was talking about it. So is this sort of like, yeah, you've got this, I see historical stuff built in, I see flexibility with a lot more of our existing buildings, but my thing is, if somebody has an idea to come to this town, they're gonna be able to do, like, is the answer yes? Like, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, I think the answer is maybe, it depends on the idea. But one of the things that this ordinance does is it gives additional flexibility, and it does that through in a couple different ways. So one, just by literally providing additional uses. If you want to open a banquet hall, now it's specifically permitted in some locations. It also adds that, in terms of the accessory uses, it adds that language that you see in all of the zone districts where it's currently missing, where it allows those pop-up events. And that's something that I had heard from property owners over the last several months, 6 to 9 months, looking for ways to bring in additional revenue, because frankly, brick and mortar retail is fundamentally different today than it was a decade ago. And so this gives the flexibility to do events and things that are gonna hopefully generate a buzz and generate some interest on it for a sale or some event. And then it also allows for any other use that's customary and incidental to a principal use. It's pretty typical language for accessory uses, but it's not something that we have in all of our districts here. And so to the extent that somebody has another cool idea that is reasonable and typically associated with that particular use, this gives our zoning officer the ability to make the interpretation, if appropriate, that that new idea would be permitted as accessory to that use. So I think those two aspects or those two changes to the accessory uses are going to really impart significant flexibility to property owners and to our zoning officer in reviewing their requests.
It's gonna empower the business owners and empower the zoning officer to interpret a little more easily. And I think that this is just going back to our whole conversation that we had with Ken earlier in this meeting. This was exactly why I was a little concerned with, okay, did anybody talk to Ken about this part of the proposal? Because this whole proposal is to try to make that part of the zoning a little more, like I said, empowering. But I wanna make sure that we're walking parallel with the needs that Ken had in that application. So that was my biggest concern. Did anybody show this to Ken?
Well, and the other thing is, having talked to business owners in one particular section of Main Street. That have felt perhaps ignored for a while. Is this cause I'm looking at spots down there, I'm like, hey, it looks like you can do these things if we just betcha, I guess. But I think, I kind of look over at Stangle and I'm like, well, that's sort of an eclectic mix of things. It seems a little looser and flexible with what's there.
I think
What's
what
up
it does, I
there
think what
down
it
on
does
that
is it opens up, it opens up opportunity, right, which is what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking, is it opens up opportunity for possibilities. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a slam dunk, but it does open it up and it invites people to come in and take a look, right? So I think that's basically what it's doing. It's not the SIC codes were just ridiculous and outdated. I mean, even in the federal government, SIC codes are outdated. They stopped using those years ago. So those were outdated. The other thing is that it was just very, very restrictive. And it left a lot of ambiguity for the zoning officers, which is really not fair to them. Because they're going by what it says.
Then they're the bad guys.
Right, and then everybody's beating up on them and then they're coming in and saying, well, you guys are hard to do business with in a little bit, but the real issue really is that it wasn't their fault. It's the fault that it's the way it's written. That's the bottom.
Yeah, and just a lot of the stuff here, I was surprised that we didn't have, like museums, learning centers, I did not know.
We did approve one learning center, right, for like a.
Yeah, but we had to do a variance for that, right?
And there was nothing in it that was marked for borough residents, for their adult children.
Yeah.
Well, I
There's
didn't
nothing
realize.
specified for borough residents, there's like no guarantee.
I think that's everybody has.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I appreciate what
I
you
guess
said.
that was it. I don't know, I'm just curious, looking at our town and knowing the history and what has happened to retail, it's different. It's completely different.
There is a nuance that you just brought up, Jeremy, that also Tony just brought up that we should bring to attention. At one point, we all said, well, what's the difference between VAS and DB if we're trying to allow more things in DB? Because it was, I think DB and DB1 were the DB2 were the kind of the more restrictive. And so we do have to have some sort of nuance there. So maybe could you address that difference?
Yeah, absolutely. So right, I think that was the discussion point is, we don't. It should be done thoughtfully if we have all of these overlapping uses between these three primary zone districts, our downtown zone districts, the DB and DB2 and the VAS district. And so it makes sense to me that the zones ought to either be differentiated as having 2 or 3 distinct purposes or simply combined if that's not the case. But as you see in this ordinance, they continue to be differentiated. And I think that's consistent with the history in the borough. So your DB1 district or your DB district, that of course is generally speaking, that's Main Street. And so that is our historic downtown. And so this district permits a very wide variety of uses, but it's really focused upon retail, sales, services, including things like restaurants, breweries, et cetera. And then it also permits some other uses like the office uses, health and fitness, et cetera. And it permits things like artisan studios. The DB2 district has many of these same permitted uses, but one of the things that you might note in here is it has a different set of conditional uses, and so it references the more active, potentially impactful uses such as restaurants, breweries, indoor recreation, and artisan manufacturing. These are conditional uses, with the condition being that the lot shall not be adjacent to a 1 or 2 family home in the SF, the single family, or the TR transition residential district. And these are the residential districts that really that flank or are adjacent to the zone district, aside from the DB district. And so the condition here is intended to reduce the impact on these lots, which are adjacent to residences, and also intended to reflect the fact that the DB2 is not the primary historic shopping district of the borough. Instead, it's really a transition district between the DB, the downtown Main Street, and the VAS district. The DB2 district has been in place. I'm not sure when it was initially adopted, but I know it has been in place since Liberty Village, the outlet center, was active and was a major draw to the borough. And so the original, the last known intent of the DB district was to provide a transition between that shopping district. What's that?
DB1, not DB.
The DB2, the last known intent was intended to be a transition between the Liberty Village Shopping Center, or the VAS district, along Church Street, connecting to those outlets, or what is now VAS district for Stangl along Mine Street. And those are the two locations that you find the DB2. It's on Mine Street and it's on Church Street. And that's primarily a transition district between these two districts. And so it permits, yes, many overlapping uses, but it does so with some conditions intended to reduce the impact, and also different bulk standards such as greater front yard setback to reflect the greater front yard setbacks, the larger lawns, and just the general reduced intensity that we see in that district.
I suspect that the planning board actually discussed this as well. You know, we've really tried to kind of use their guide and then say, okay, let's just throw everything out. Go, why do we have a DB2 district? Do we need it? Should we combine it with DB1? Why do we have it? Well, could it be all one thing? And one of the things we talked about was the DB2 really is that cross pedestrian east-west connection between the one side of town and the other. So it is really important, but it has like a very subtle, important residential component that we need to recognize. So in the end, that's why we said, no, it's an important area, because we have to respect the fact that that's a neighborhood just like everybody else's. But it's also an important linear connection. Can you please go back to the DB, because there was another thing that was interesting in the planning board's proposal, and we expanded upon that. I hope that everybody thinks we improved upon it, with the south of William Street, and north of Kapner, I think. Could you point that out to everybody? Because I think that's an interesting addition as well.
So the ordinance today and in this draft as a permitted use permits upper story dwellings. The 2024 draft ordinance that was introduced allowed for new single family homes in locations that are north of Kapner and south of William. What this ordinance does, instead of just permitting simply single family homes, it allows for first floor dwellings to be located in those places, north of Kapner and south of William. And so the distinction is that yes, new single family homes, so that continues to be permitted in this draft ordinance. But it also allows for other housing types such as one family homes, two family homes, three and multifamily as well.
But could you clarify what you meant by new, because I didn't understand it when you first said it, when you meant, we were talking about existing buildings for the most part. When we were
What page
talking
are you looking
about
at
that.
then?
This is on page 8. So let me just read this. For lots located north of Catner, south of William, first floor dwellings may face Main Street, provided the subject building exists as of the date of this ordinance and no addition shall occur along the street facing facade. So what it's essentially doing is it's allowing first floor use for residential purposes in the buildings that exist, provided you're not adding on to the front of the building, with the intent of it being to maintain these are locations where we have one, greater prevalence of residential uses, but also prevalence of larger buildings that were at least formerly used as residential as homes. And so this is intended to incentivize or retention of those buildings, permit them to be occupied with residential uses, which is more consistent with what you see in those areas compared to the center of downtown. But while maintaining the historic character of the buildings by stating if you're going to be occupying the first floor with residential use, you've got to maintain that front facade essentially, rather than pushing it out with a.
Marshall, so refer to these as the grand ladies. We're really trying to focus on salvaging the quality of the larger
I'm
main
just trying to figure out what you're, it's like, are you talking like Viva Mexico, their first floor could become retail or could become residential.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
yes.
That's what you're
In
talking
theory,
about,
yeah.
in theory.
Yes.
That building.
some of the
that
grander homes that
Yeah.
you really had in mind, that's what this is supposed to
Well,
address.
my vision is to put the grand ladies back into one single family homes and not allow them to be cut up into multiple apartments.
Well, a lot of them are already cut up into offices, so
I
we
know.
didn't wanna go that.
That was how we made it more, you know, that's
So,
my vision.
so one of my questions, Beth, is this, the whole, when this was explained or told to the council about this ad hoc committee looking at this in January, it was off the heels of the retail quote, the retail services only ordinance that got tabled in 2024. There was some discussion about looking at a small area, putting the current offices into legacy status, which they were anyway, and the other one. That's not addressed at all in here.
No, office uses are permitted.
Yes.
So the economy of scale is not gonna change on Main Street at all, as far as the carpets rolling up when the county closes with the lawyers and the title searchers. Their carpets are all rolling up to 4:30 at night. So we're gonna continue having a dark Main Street at 4:30.
Well, that's not necessarily true, Marcia. That's an overstatement, because the bottom line is this is free market, right? And so I don't see a lot of offices opening on Main Street right now. What I see is one office open on Main Street, and I see more retailers opening on Main Street. So I don't buy that anymore. I don't think that that's necessarily true. And I also think that once more restaurants and things like that come in, then there's going to be a propensity of people opening longer and a long time. So it's not gonna roll up. That's just an oversight. It used to roll up because nobody did anything. Now that something's being done and it's being addressed, I don't buy that argument. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I was really hoping we were gonna look to some of the side streets to put the county offices that service the county facilities. So like the lawyers and like the title searchers.
Well,
Because
that's the
we
option
are,
of doing that.
let me finish, we are the county seat, we are always going to be the county seat, and the county closes at 4:30. So the title searchers can't get into title search, the lawyers can't get in to do whatever they have to do in there. So our street, a vast majority goes dark. I hope you're right, Tony, long term, that, that changes. But we are never gonna be a river town. We are never gonna have a huge Main Street like Somerville. We are always gonna be the county seat with county offices on Main Street. And unless, in my personal opinion, and also our planner who proposed all of this, opinion was to try to properly, gently, through legacy, move them to other side streets. So we can have more retail on a very small main street. The market will bear, but we're always gonna be the county seat, so.
And that's fine, and that's what we should do, and we should never take that away from ourselves, and nor does it make, and so we can have both. It doesn't have to be one or the other, we can have both, both exist in the world. And we're not trying to be Somerville, because I'm against trying to be like any other town. We are our own
I'm
town.
not saying we're trying to
But-
like them, we're
but-
just
but
can't,
my
we're
point-
huge.
It doesn't make any wherever you put it, the point of it is, we're not trying to be like anyone. What we are trying to do is make it so that it is a free market, that we can encourage people to come in, we can encourage businesses to come in, we can encourage people to come in, we can encourage people to buy homes here, we can encourage all kinds of things. It's the encouragement of it all and not the restriction of it all. That's the point. It's just was far too restrictive, and it does not make sense. Not in this world.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's the only one I have is mine. I would have yours, but I don't agree with it. Excuse me.
I don't agree with yourself, okay.
My opinion, yes, it is my opinion. I only have one, and that's mine.
I think, but I do think it's a good point, like, we started from point A in January, or actually was it?
Last year,
Yeah,
it was last year,
and it's not addressed here, so.
so, no, it's not.
What happens, in your education or experience, whatever, when, you know, you have a town that I can't think of anything off the top of my head for this bunch of offices of the town and whatnot. And then suddenly it's like, oh, there's all this stuff coming in and I own an office building, hey, you know what, maybe this is not convenient anymore, I'm gonna head out, maybe move my business elsewhere, does that happen?
For those folks that have existing offices, I think it's unlikely they're gonna leave if the use is not permitted. If they're looking to do a significant expansion and they're unable to obtain use variance approval, then sure, that might force the decision to move elsewhere. But if you have an existing office building and you're operating your accountant's business, attorney's business, planner's business, there's no need to move just because you're not permitted use anymore. It's only if you are looking to expand or if you're the building owner and you lose a tenant. At that point, it can become much more important to the property owner as they try to seek new tenants and are unable to fill the space with a certain category of uses.
I mean, since COVID, the average like office has shrunk. I mean, I know my own office has shrunk, my husband's office, they keep taking more square footage away and you know, people are working 1 day a week from home, 2 days a week from home. So people are giving back a lot of that square footage in order to save money on rent, correct? So
I think it's depending upon your industry, if you're in tech or you're in A&D or aerospace and defense, that is not the case, you better get your.
But that's not in this town.
Who supports it?
But no, that's not the point. The point of it is the business is not in this town.
I know, but we can't just say the economy is this, what's happening.
Well, so I'm just
Why I don't have
asking
to
in
go back to work
general.
now.
I'm just asking in general.
I know, I'm back at work,
But-
but when you work from home.
Excuse me, no, I do not work from home. Excuse me, I do not work from home. My point of it is that there is a mix now. There is a mix. And I know this because I do consulting. There is a mix. There are people who are coming back into the office, but there are people who are letting office space go. So it's a mix. It's not one or the other, it's both. It's
So
hard,
the
it's very
office is closed in our borough of late, does anybody know, like any tribal knowledge of that?
What?
Of offices of like law
Dentist,
firms.
gone,
Who?
dentist, gone.
That's one of our dentists
We
down
have
the street.
4
here for
dental
her.
offices available on Main Street. No one wants to spend $50,000 to rip out the walls, the equipment, and move their retail
I
business.
think Florissa moved down to the end of Broad, we gave her she definitely works. So that's one of them, and that was one of the reasons why we approved it, so to me, that seems like maybe that's a great place for like a Botox doctor. That's a maybe plastic surgery place, I feel like.
On the ordinance, that's, recently, I think it was recently, I forwarded you an email from somebody who wanted to add classes or something does that happen in this ordinance? No.
Yes.
Yeah, so they would be permitted.
That language regarding the, what I'm gonna refer to as just the pop-up events, the accessory use language that's added to any commercial district that doesn't have that language, that would
No.
specifically help that person.
Okay,
And the learning center description, that's also, that would cover their classes.
Yeah, it's sort of there's sort of two ways to address that particular use. It's either they're doing something on occasion and it's a pop-up event as a permitted accessory use, or they're doing something. I forget exactly what they were, the primary business, but maybe they're gonna sell something and then they're gonna run classes. And so retail sales would be permitted, a learning center is permitted, any combination of permitted uses is
that-
also
is
permitted.
that in DB as well, or just DB one
That-
and two?
The DB district, yes.
Yeah,
the
But that
DB
guy was in one or two, I can't remember.
It was that one.
The. Second,
Pop-up provisions are.
I thought it was in both.
the pop-up provisions are in
Yeah,
every
it
non-residential district. The DB two permits both learning centers as well as retail sales, so they would be permitted there as well.
Um. Talk to me about this height change.
Okay, let me scroll up. This is for the DB one, I presume.
The DB, I think, page 8.
Yep, so the maximum permitted height right now, as it exists today, is 40 feet. Which shall not exceed 3 stories, whichever is less, so maximum height of 40 feet. The ordinance allows for a 5-foot increase to go from 40 to 45 feet. And that is also permitted as a maximum height of 4 stories. And then there is an additional caveat with that. So just to be fair, let me start with the top line. It's 5 feet, which can include 1 additional story. However, there's additional language that states buildings or portions thereof that exceed 3 stories shall be set back from the stories beneath it not less than 10 feet along the street facing facade and along the side lot line shared with a single 1 or 2 family home in a residential district.
But then
So
it's-
essentially what this means is if you're going to have a building, let's just focus along Main Street, that exceeds 3 stories, that 4th story must be set back by 10 feet. So essentially, you've got 3 stories, just for simplicity, you've got 3 stories with a flat facade, 10-foot setback, and then that 4th story. The intent of that is to reduce the perception of the building height, reduce the impact as you walk along Main Street, for example, in the sense that the visibility of that 4th story will be reduced by virtue of that setback. The same mitigation of the impact would be felt along the properties of 1 and 2 family homes that are within the SF or the TR district along those side yard setbacks. So essentially where we've got a sensitive neighbor along the front or along the side, so essentially Main Street or residences in a residential district, that top story has to be set back to reduce the visibility of of what would be the 4th story.
So in 2023, the ordinance subcommittee of the planning board, which Councilwoman Engelhardt served, explored this whole height thing, and it was low. Because the planning board unanimously, and then came to this council, unanimously voted to lower the height to not allow 4-story buildings with more residential units on it. So I want to know if the councilwoman has changed her mind, and the rest of the council that was here in 2023, that unanimously voted to lower it to not allow 4-story buildings with more residential.
Well, I'll jump in on
Like
that.
you-
Now,
you
what you just said, when you were talking about that was one issue where I don't see justifying adding that rear height. I just don't understand it. If you wanna expand your business or whatever, why would you wanna add more height? And also, that seems to be moving a little bit ahead here. Rather than like, let's look at all this stuff. This is new, this is different. You get rid of SIC codes, that's a big deal.
Huge.
Well, why are we jumping into, so I'm gonna agree that I'm concerned about that. I don't know if I'm necessarily cool with it, I'm gonna be honest.
I am really not cool with it.
Let me put it this way.
I'm just trying to imagine this.
I look at Main Street, I see the historic buildings that we all like and enjoy, right? The Union Hotel, the Potting Shed building, the bank next door, the store where the corner is, the building where the corner is. Those were built 100 years ago. This is still 5 to 10 feet shorter than all of that. I just feel like it's bringing that back a little bit, right? We said this was fine a century ago. I think those buildings are unanimously adored in this town, and yet we look at those and we say that can never ever happen again, right? I find that a little strange is the way that I look at it. You know, I think it provides, like everything else in here, more options. Now, how somebody executes upon this height change is debatable. You know, it's very difficult to mandate making something beautiful, right? And I would hope
Especially new construction.
that it looked more akin to the buildings that we enjoy than the ones that we don't. But I don't think we should ban it outright is the way that I look at it. If the rest of council disagrees, so be it. I mean, we already have this compromise I find ridiculous in there about the setback being steep, you know, stepped a bit, but that's
Well, I
fine.
think that was to, again, very similar to the depth and the setbacks of the backyard. That was to compromise on design and allow for a little more flexibility on design, which is, you know, something that I know throughout the whole Union Hotel, you know, negotiation was something that was important. So I think it was to recognize that was the ability to vary the elevation in some way, shape, or form, whether it's with roof angles or, you know, the direct setbacks. I think that was the case.
Well, like I said, this was usually vetted on the ordinance subcommittee, a lot of discussion on the height. Unanimously approved by them, unanimously approved by the planning board to reduce the height, to not allow it. To not encourage. And I'll just single them out for no reason whatsoever, but it's a building like Dolce's to just tear themselves down and build a now 45-foot structure. Put Dolce's back on the first floor and all apartments on floors 2, 3, and 4.
Well, actually, I think that was actually something that, but for it, I'm not gonna. I recall the discussion in the subcommittees about the VAS. I don't actually recall that conversation, but I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't recall. I do remember the discussion about the VAS district in the subcommittees on the heights. But more importantly, last December, when we were talking to the landlord, one of the things that really hit me hard was the quality of the spaces that we have to utilize, to rent, and to build are subpar when it comes to the quality of construction. And several of the people in that room, and I'm sorry, I don't think you were there that day at the Stengel building that day in October, but I think you might have been online.
I was online.
You were online, yeah, Adrian, and there was comments about, hey, let us knock that down and build it up. Something like the Dolce building, that's essentially not a beloved historic building like the ones that Trent just mentioned. I don't want to necessarily say that we define what they can and cannot do as a landowner in the future. I think we need to put some barriers on that, but if Dolce wants to demolish and do 4 stories and it's within the zoning requirements, I don't necessarily think that we should diminish the fact that the property owner has the right to make money on their property and we need higher quality rentable AAA space to attract higher quality AAA retail. So it was really clear to me that the quality of some of our retail buildings is lacking from the landlords, and I definitely was influenced by
Well,
that
A
argument. that
lot
they
of the landlords just don't wanna put the money in to fix up their buildings. I'm talking about 4-story high apartments on Main Street.
Yeah.
Because that's what this line does. It encourages 4 stories with retail on the first floor and then 3 stories of apartments on Main Street. We are at 63% right now without the Union Hotel coming online or the Spice Factory coming online, not counting anything else with Captiva or Cardinal or the Future or whatever. We're already at 63% rentals, which is 2% higher than Jersey City. Our own tax assessor said we should be below 30%. And this is proposing an encouragement of 4-story high apartments and putting more apartments into Flemington with some argument that our landlords who don't want to fix up their current buildings need higher quality retail space.
I think you're making an assumption that they would all be rentals, because that's not necessarily what the market
We don't.
would bear. We don't know.
All
It could
anybody
be-
wants to build right now are apartments.
Actually, the trend is going more toward condos now.
I have had nothing but calls about apartments. Beth has had calls about apartments.
I
It's all
understand that,
apartments.
but the market changes and ebbs and flows regularly. If you recall, when the Union Hotel was actually first declared an area in need of redevelopment in 2012, the proposal originally was condos. And in fact, I was very concerned when the original developer stepped away, because he was proposing condos, and I knew that at the time was what the market was supporting then. And I was a little hesitant to go, wait a minute, how is a hotel gonna work here? That was, again, 2012. So the market changes and ebbs and flows regularly. Cut glass is a good example. Cut glass was proposed originally in 2007, 6, 7, I believe, as for sale housing. They actually asked to extend their permits over and over and over again, because they felt that the market was not going to be able to bear. Remember, there was the housing crash of 2008. They could have easily come in and put another, proposal together for apartments. They didn't. So again, I think the market ebbs and flows, and I've seen more condos come online just personally than apartments.
I'm talking about 4-story high buildings. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, but you're saying they're all renters, and I'm saying I think that a lot of these could easily be for sale, similar to what's being
It's still
for sale in Liberty
This
Village
is
right
a
now.
charming Victorian town. A charming Victorian town. Just named one of the 7 most charming towns in the state of New Jersey. Knocking finally Frenchtown off the top. Putting in more of this kind of. You can't, who just said it? You can't dictate or mandate pretty. You can't mandate having them make something that looks Victorian.
There's nobody proposing to tear down existing beautiful Victorian mansions. What is being proposed is the lower quality buildings give the property owners a chance to envision something better.
Well, they have that chance now, but it doesn't have to be at 4 stories. They have the chance now to do it at 3 stories.
I understand that. I think that this will give them the rate of return that they might need to invest in their property that they have not had in the past.
What about the quality of life for the people that are already here, who are already complaining about all the traffic?
We can argue about traffic all day
In any development, in any small town, on any development, in a big city, it doesn't make any difference. Traffic is always gonna be a problem because there's so many cars on the road, they have teenagers on the road. It went from a 2-car family to a 5-car family. To me, that's never gonna be an argument, because traffic is always going to be an issue. It's never gonna go away. doesn't matter where you live.
Well, and what the owners of these buildings that are all, well, not all, but vastly absentee are not residents, do not live in this town, do not vote in this town, pay taxes, but don't live and vote here. Don't deal with it every day, they don't live in our currently charming little town. I am very concerned about making this higher, and I'm putting it out there that, you know, that you can't dictate what you're gonna end up getting, if you're gonna let the market dictate it versus zoning. And zoning for the people that live here now that wanna keep this a charming town. 4 stories is not charming. It's not, especially when they're gonna look like, you know, that whatever that's called now. Typical crap, like, I'm sorry, Somerville's got, that they allowed, they all look the same. And we were really hard on the Union Hotel to make sure that they kind of tried to keep the charm of looking like something that was built in 1848. So, you know, I'm very concerned about increasing the height on Main Street. Because that wasn't, like I said, that's just 2 years ago, and, you know, now it's like, let's encourage tear downs of non-quality buildings and let them build 4 stories versus let's encourage them fixing up things even to 3 stories. You know, because you can't dictate what people are gonna put in. And like I said, we're at
They
63%
they
now.
didn't. When it was 3 stories, they didn't do it. I
Right,
haven't seen them do that.
right.
So
So
why, so
They
we're
do
gonna, so we're incentivizing people who don't live here and don't vote here so that they can make a buck. In Susan's word, incentivizing them so that they can get their return on investment. What about all the homeowners that have moved here and their investments into a charming town? That's who I care about.
But a broken down building that's coming apart that the current landlord isn't maintaining isn't charming. And
What are
so
we condemning?
So where's our property maintenance on that? Why aren't we creating
Condemn it,
better
it's falling down.
property
address it.
maintenance laws? And why aren't we enforcing stuff on empty buildings? And why aren't we enforcing all that stuff that Robin provided years ago and it's not being enforced? You know, I mean, we charge them for having vacant properties, but, you know, if we're allowing them to look like crap, shame on us. Versus saying, oh, we'll let you make a bigger return on your investment, because, you know, you didn't take care of your property then. So now you get rewarded by being able to put in more apartments and make more money and not live here
But
and
the
see all
town
of
did
it.
not deteriorate overnight. It deteriorated years, it's been years.
Well,
You've
shit,
lived here, you've lived here, you guys let this deteriorate for years. I'm
I
tired of
just
hearing,
got elected 2
I'm
years
tired
ago,
of
Tony.
hearing, but you had a voice, you said in this council meeting several times when Betsy was here. Several times, my point of it is, a town you guys let this go down, and now all of a sudden you're saying, well, da 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 da. It deteriorated a long time ago.
All I'm saying is not 4 stories. I'm not saying no 3 stories. I'm not, you know, I don't have a problem with the zoning changes in here. My concern is the 4-story buildings on Main Street and more housing.
I agree.
And I'm saying it, not just affordable housing, more housing. I'm saying,
Quality, high value, high cost housing.
So, for me, it's 2 things. One, I wanna focus on business and cool, fun, interesting stuff. and
Yes.
fun. That's
yes,
all I hear people ask me about,
yes,
all the time.
which
all
was
the
the whole
time.
purpose of that ordinance 2 years ago. In
Well,
2023, it added all kinds of cool stuff. This has made it
No, it
more
didn't.
cool.
It did
Well,
not have all kinds of.
No, this has made it more cool.
this to me, when I was reading this, this sounds like what people are asking about. I mean, this is what, when people complain, all right, about my town.
We do here.
Right.
This is the stuff that you say,
Yes.
well, oh, look, we wanna have all this. The other issue is, as far as the housing component to this, you're never gonna hear me say, I don't want people to find a place to live. We're living in a terrible time for housing. It's a real crisis, and it's worldwide. It's a problem. But are we like coupling this major issue with our major issue is like, let's get some nice businesses in here?
Yep.
So I was interpreting this as saying, because my question came from my confusion, I guess, was who would wanna add to a building another floor up if it's a business here, I mean, yeah, I didn't even think about, oh, they wanna add apartments, okay.
But that's the thing, it's, they don't,
But,
this ordinance isn't saying all four, it's not saying.
no, I know that,
that's-
I know,
I'm saying
I know
retail
exactly that.
with 3 stories up.
I know.
If we're tearing it down and building a museum there, like, why can't that be a 4-story building?
But I didn't know. I wasn't reading this as there's stuff that torn down.
I mean, the current ordinance, same as this ordinance, this ordinance has no impact on whether a building can be torn down. It gives another story if you can, within an additional 5 feet of building height. And so what that does is it means that your new building could have more floor area, could have more value. And so that is an incentive for change, quite honestly, as you're giving somebody the opportunity to get more value out of a new, larger building. So maybe that's, so I think that's relevant, but this ordinance doesn't directly facilitate raising of buildings. Your historic preservation ordinance remains in effect. This has no effect on chapter 16, which addresses demolition of historic buildings in the downtown. That remains. And so any building along Main Street that was seeking to do an addition or seeking a redevelopment, they'll have to work through the HPC ordinance, HPC, just as they would today, and they'll have to go through the planning board just as they did today. But admittedly, that additional story within the additional 5 feet means that there could be more value for a bigger building.
More flexibility.
But like nobody's coming in and spending $5 million to build a museum, a 4-story museum on Main Street. They're gonna come in to build high density housing. That's what they're gonna do.
Yes.
I guess
You agree, Trent. I mean, you told me you're in favor of that.
I am in favor of housing. I like housing.
I like housing.
I like housing. It's that simple. I'm not
Hey,
afraid
they
to say I
water-
want.
They have water and sewer for their big building.
And nor should you be afraid to say you want housing. It's, you know what, everybody brings something to the table and it can't be one way or the other. There can be compromises. But the point of it is it's, I look more towards Trent and Brandon for their view on a lot of things, because at the end of the day, they are the ones in 20 years from now or 40 years from now that are gonna be here. And how do they want their town to look? That really is the crux of it. It really is. You can say anything you want. When you're in your 50s and 60s, listen, tomorrow's not guaranteed. You're living on you're living on borrowed time, and I've experienced it 3 times. I've experienced it 3 times, so take my word for it. Life is just like that. So the point of it is, you know what, you can say 20 years from now, but when you look down the road 10 years from now, and I look at these 2 people and say, these 2 people, they're gonna be here, and what do they want their town to look like? That's who I take my lead from. I really do, because they should have more, and it would be interesting to go around and ask a lot of young people, and especially people who are coming into this town and bit, what do you want? What do you look at? What do what about the housing? What about this and this? That is the real crux of the question, right? You know what? The town is beautiful. I love it. I'm married to it. I bought here. I don't regret buying here, but I will even take my house, for instance, who you're saying a historic home, except we just found out that we have to, the clapboard was put up wrong on the house when the clapboard went up. That was just causing deterioration, right? So the house was deteriorating, we didn't even know it. So the bottom line is, thank God we're in a position where we can do something about it, but you can have somebody who buys that house that does not have the means to do something about it, and then it deteriorates. So the bottom line is not about the people don't want to do things, it's a matter of the funding to get it done. I mean, you gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic. The bottom line is A plus B is not always C.
Well, no,
I wanna comment here, because I've only been here since very late 2013, and when we moved here and we made the decision to invest in this town with a lot of work and a home that had tuba knob, 2-socket plugs, and just an absolute freaking disaster, It was those beautiful little condos that were gonna be put in by the guy that owns Matt's Red Rooster. So we know how Spring Street was supposed to look. That's what we moved here into this town and invested in this town.
That's what I thought.
And something I've always said is don't make me suspend the time. I mean, hey, try to, if you guys wanna put up 6, 7, 8-story buildings, fine. But let me put aluminum siding on the front of my house and to hell with the historic preservation. Because nobody's.
Well, that's-
I have
that's-
no
that's-
disrespect.
That's a whole nother.
No,
that's a whole nother.
No disrespect to the 20-somethings on the council, but we have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of families that have moved here with young children because they want the charm of the town. And they feel safe here. And we
They
have a
feel
lot of
safe here.
seniors that have stayed in this town, and these are people that have lived here for generations. So no offense to what Trent and Brandon's vision is for the future, but there are people that are here that are current residents that live here and vote here. And, you know,
That's why
again,
you have a mixture. That's what's called a mixture. That's why it's called everybody brings something to the table. It's not one or the other, it's
look,
all.
this seems to be I don't hear anybody objecting to any of the real zoning issues to bring in the fun stuff.
The use.
And I'm gonna remind you, the ordinance in 23 removed housing overlays so that we could have big lots out on Route 12. And try to encourage some bigger stuff out there, instead of just housing in apartments. So, and that was all, like I said, it was all unanimous. It also lowered this height. So this seems to be the sticking point. So I'm just gonna poll the council so that we can move on for the night, because we still have an executive session. And send this off to the planning board and the historic preservation commission to take a look at it.
I thought this wasn't any interest.
It's not even being able to do.
It's not what it is. I just wanna be able to like,
No, no,
I think we should do a special.
I think, so.
well, you don't want me to poll the council. on
No,
what they
because
do?
I don't think
Alright.
there's anything to pull right now. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna send this up with what we said we could do is we would listen to people's comments.
Get some feedback.
And then we will do the feedback and then we will look at the feedback, incorporate the feedback and or consider the feedback. As it goes through, it's gonna go to
Planning
planning
board,
board, it's also gonna go to
HPC.
it's gonna go to Robin's thing, it's gonna go, we're gonna float this around. Because we're
And-
gonna
And I
get
think
this
we need-
right, we're gonna get this right. And it's not gonna be one person's opinion or 2 people's opinion or 25 people's opinion. It's gonna be the opinion of the majority of people who are saying, this is what we want it to look like. That's
And
what
we're
it's
gonna be
be.
the leaders and we're gonna be the people that are gonna take heat on it,
Exactly.
good, bad, or indifferent. We're not
Exactly.
gonna do everything in this council and in this government by we've got 4,600 people, it's all by figure it out, we're leaders. I'm not saying no,
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying, Robin, excuse me, that's not what I'm saying,
Well-
Adrian. What I'm saying is that there are stakeholders involved in this. Nobody got the stakeholders involved before, that's why we're here now. The point of it is they deserve to look at it, everybody deserves a seat at the table, everybody being the planning board, the council. HPC, if that's who's gonna be involved, and
the
FIT.
public.
And FIT, the public is a whole nother thing, I'm talking about the stakeholders to get this up and running, that's what I'm talking about. Those stakeholders need to be involved, period. Okay,
Was there anything else
anything else?
within this ordinance?
Any other
Okay,
issues?
you know, actually, I've got one question for you. If you guys look at this, if you think there's anything you've left out in terms of uses,
Yeah.
I was really thinking a lot about that. And like, did we actually everything you could kind of want to see on Main Street or VAS or DB2 or anything like this?
We did a little tweaking to highway retail, right? We did, yeah.
You don't want to go too far.
Yeah, I know, but we did do, we put in the stuff that you guys had before and you know, the obvious stuff, and
What do they call it? The kitchen thing.
commercial kitchens.
Commercial kitchens that included.
I don't have a use in here that is specific to commercial kitchens, no. But that might be hold on a second, that would be.
Banquet halls.
Remember that?
No, not banquet hall. This would be someplace that people could go and cook and sell their stuff.
Marcia, was that the one that you guys floated in
I-
December?
It,
don't
I,
remember
I
that
thought it
either.
was because like bread and culture needs a larger kitchen. If we had a commercial kitchen in town, we could use.
We used yours as the guide, so that's why I'm wondering if it was really, if it was in there or not.
So it doesn't, it's not specifically permitted, a banquet hall is permitted to include kitchen facilities for catering of food. But that's the closest it gets, if you're looking for a kitchen, is it a kitchen that doesn't serve food for on-site folks, it's just for chefs to come in, use, and then take their goods and sell it elsewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a use.
So
that
it's
can
more
be-
production.
Yeah, we can create that.
So it would be for food trucks, for people who wanna have.
Yeah, people with food trucks go in and they could do all their cooking and put it up there.
Well, originally that
Bread
was
and
what
culture
the,
could go in
that's
there,
one of
make
the
more
things
bread.
that the, Stangle was going to be.
Well, that's strange, but they were looking at, they were looking at Victorian Plaza. Do that with.
Yeah, I don't remember, I honestly don't remember that in your December one.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Because we
Yeah.
used that as that, and we literally took yours and marked it up, so.
Yeah.
If
But I remember calling you about
That's a
the
good
whole,
idea.
the whole thing about a production kitchen at Victorian Plaza. That was,
Let me take a look at that,
Yeah.
I don't think it's permitted, let me look back through my notes and maybe I had thought it could be an accessory use.
Cause you know,
It might be
that
just-
little lot on Park Avenue that everybody wants to put high density housing on, you know, it would be like the perfect location
Mhm.
for like a commercial kitchen that could then do catering at the egg auction,
Mhm.
you know, it was like a perfect location.
Yeah.
But there's such a, like, I mean, I hear that all the time, like, the Grange and Ringo's. They do like all this baking and stuff, they use a commercial kitchen in Trenton
Mhm.
because they can't. You know, get
Along
their,
Route 12, that would be good,
there's a building on Route
I
12.
think we
Yeah.
talked about a banquet hall being able to be used for that, but that might,
but
that
that's
use is
different
not
than what
gonna
you
be
was talking
applicable.
about.
Yeah, but the use is also not gonna be applicable to every zone district, so
Well,
it's
that's
not
not
I'm just saying, it would be
Can't
like a
we
nice
just-
use to have.
Can we consider it in one of the over, like there was the accessory, there's uses that are approved, and then there's like conditional uses, maybe that's conditional use depending on the location or whatever. Look at it.
Yeah, I'll take a look, there's commercial kitchen, there's incubator kitchens, things like that.
What's the difference?
Terminology, that's really it.
Okay,
Anything else?
thanks,
Close
Beth.
it, Mayor?
No, I'm good, thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
Thank you,
very
Beth.
much.
Thanks, Beth.
Okay, we're back on the agenda. We're on public comment session number 2. Anybody from the public wishing to address the council or online, I see nobody, sit down. You can see somebody's on there, but I don't know who it says.
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
But I am, because I'm cold. We have the first Flemington Food Truck Festival on August 9th at the Shops of Flemington. So, I think it's gonna happen before we see you all again, so I hope that you will all come.
Sorry, what was the date?
It's August 9th, the original date of corn, tomato, and beer.
What's the times?
It's 11 to 7. It's in the Home Depot parking lot that got used for the community day, and it worked out.
Home Depot.
It's a
I
very.
mean, sorry, I meant Home Good.
Oh,
I'm really
okay.
tired.
Alright.
Forgive me. Home Goods area, and it's the loyal food trucks that always come and don't say yes to other events because they hold our date. So we wanted to give them an opportunity. Viva Mexico will be there. Cousins Being Lobster, all the good ones will be there. We'll have beer and music and kids activities. And it's something for the
Yeah,
people
beer,
who.
did she get her beer license?
Not yet, we're waiting for the fire, we're giving the fire
Well,
department
You
the
gotta do it
opportunity,
21 days before,
but you can do it.
paper wise.
Pay for 14 days.
Yeah.
We're waiting for them
Tough,
to
tough.
do it.
You guys figure it out.
Okay, but anyway, so we have that, and then we're working very hard to move all these events to Main Street, so. Which.
That's
will-
very much appreciated.
Yes, it is very much appreciated and by many people, and it is definitely gonna be a work in progress. But in the meantime, please support Main Street. They are really struggling hard. It is not a good situation. It's been a terrible summer, the rain, between the rain and everything, the heat, the construction, you know, I mean, it's just not a good time.
So
And
there's two big events coming in September for Main Street.
Uh,
Well, one
September
one
and
September
early
and
October. Yes,
You'll have food trucks,
then-
got
and
the
then we'll
Jazz
have-
Fest this year, right?
yes.
Several?
We'll have a couple. We wanna make sure that that any business food business that's open. Has enough customers, yeah.
Do
So-
it some of those events.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Nobody else, okay. Payment of bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $846,954.78. Can I have a motion, please?
Well, move.
Is there a second?
Political second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Arias.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Long.
Yes.
And Council President Coyle.
Yes.
Now in executive session under personnel. Can I have a motion, please, to go into executive session?
Move.
Is there a second?
Political second.
All in favor? All right, we're gonna go right in, kicking everybody out, all right,
You gotta give me a minute.
this is already, then, and you all turn to confidence. Sure. Especially really good at pushing cars off the roads. You know. you're gonna jump.
Sorry.
You know,
Another
you're jumping terrorists too.
Too many ball men in my life.
Pissarro, Mo.
Is there a second to adjourn?
Political second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, she was singing your praise.
I know, I heard it, then I felt so bad.
I felt hard.
Was it